Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with another daily Marvel Snap live stream. So I appreciate everybody that jumped in and has joined us back in on YouTube. You know that we've been switching back and forth between Twitch and YouTube for our lunch live streams. And I think hopefully this is where we end up staying. I'd like to have everything in a one-stop shop if we can. So I appreciate everybody that jumped in early. We have Astros, we have Q, we have Jeremiah, we have Joe Bro, Zombie Lemon, Terry Henderson, Alexander, Gerald, Timothy Core. Thank you guys for being here. And then a Kaichu and Joe Bro, how's life? Life is good so far, or I guess so far. Life is good right now. We've had a lot of positive things coming through. And then Benjamin, thank you so much for subscribing to our YouTube channel. I appreciate it. We're glad to have you. And so let's go ahead and jump over into the deck explanation screen. Sorry. Transition a couple of times. So we're going to be running a little bit of and then Tobjen and Zachary, thank you both so much for being here. So we're going to be running a little bit more of the movement deck that I showcased in today's video. And so it feels incredibly versatile. Now it can get restricted if you're running up against Professor X's, but otherwise it feels pretty versatile. And so we have a lot of our movement components. The recent buff to Dagger has done her quite a bit of good, because now she'll buff up for all unrevealed cards as well. And so that makes her move and buff a little bit more consistent. Zombie Lemon, thank you so much for the 3 months as a Team Super Supporter. The support is absolutely massive. 3 months ago, we were incredibly small compared to where we are now. And so it's massive to still have you here. I appreciate the support. And so let's go ahead and jump over into the a couple of games, and then we can work on the chat as well. I hope everybody had a great weekend. So far, I had a pretty good week. I had a pretty good weekend, a pretty good start to our to the week so far. I hope that you guys have as well. And then Jill, how's it going? I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. And then Project Purple Onyx, I appreciate you being here as well. And then Rocky Road, and then One Alpha. And then Top Rivers, use Hella soon. She's incredible. She is incredibly strong, Top Rivers. I really do enjoy Hella. I actually climbed, I think, 3 seasons in a row to Infinite with Hella for a while. And so, yeah, I definitely enjoy using Hella. Gerald Gand, you said, quick question, is there still a way to get Spider-Man Miles Morales now? So about a month from now. So any season pass that gets released, or card that gets released through the season pass, 2 months from the day that they're released, they are available, at least so far, in pool 3. We don't know if that will change eventually, as far as like where they're released to. But yeah, you'll be able to pull them naturally. It will take a little bit longer. So let's go ahead and we're going to put Dagger into the Bifrost. She's going to move over after turn 4, which is going to start buffing her up. We can force them to push maybe a few more cards into the Bifrost with something like Polaris, which should be pretty decent. And then Stash, good day to you, sir, and Dames. Welcome, Stash. I'm glad to have you. And then let's see, Zachary, you said, how's it going? Second stream I've caught at work. That's huge, Zachary. I appreciate you you loading us up at work and just enjoying the stream and the content. Then Daniel, thank you so much for the sub as well. I appreciate it. Welcome to the team. Gamers Gym, have a great stream. You unlocked Wong. Is Mystique worth putting in Wong going deck? I like putting Wong and Mystique both in my Wong going deck. I think it just adds a little bit of it adds a higher high roll. It's not as consistent, so you're going to need to retreat more tactfully. But whenever you hit that high roll, it's really hard. It's really hard to compete with. And so I don't know that we even... I don't know. We don't really have any major moves that we need to drop right now. I think I'm just going to drop Polaris. She'll get moved over. We do have the pretty big Bar Sinister that will be able to duplicate whatever card we play there. And then Harry, hey, nice to see y'all. Nice to see you in here, Harry. I hope that you had a great weekend, and I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. Jordan Hunt, what's good? Watching this at work while working. Love the streams. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Jordan. I appreciate it. I hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. So we do end up pulling one of their cards over with our Polaris, and so Dagger should get I believe she should get buffed up for both of these cards. And we can try to sneak cards into Bar Sinister if we wanted to, but I don't know that we necessarily need to. We can throw Cloak into the Bifrost. That way we can move cards back there if we want to. Bar Sinister actually kind of hurts us a little bit. We don't have as much space to move around, and we don't have a lot of our big enablers here either. And so I think I'm just going to do Cloak. I don't even think we do Angela. I think just a quadruple Magneto is going to be a little bit better in Bar Sinister. Jeremiah Bell, thank you so much for the support. It'll come through and read in a second, but I appreciate it, Jeremiah.
This deck likes to move it, move it. It likes to move it, move it. It likes to move it.
It only did one I feel like you got robbed, Jeremiah. It only did one instead of what is that, 4 or 5? So you don't understand how much I had to resist. I had to resist naming the movement deck. We like to move it because I feel like it's like low hanging. It's low hanging. I couldn't do it. I wanted to, but so we can do Iron Fist into a Human Torch to push this way a little bit, and maybe we pull Dagger back over, and then try to aim for a quadruple Magneto. Yeah, Jeremiah, I'm not sure why I didn't read more than that. And then Dad, was I wrong? Twitch not working out? I'm still trying to figure out where our end location is, Dad. I think I like a lot of the features on Twitch, but I think as far as having a one-stop shop for everybody to be able to find, yeah, it's like 241, Jeremiah. Either way, it is. I appreciate the support. The amount doesn't necessarily matter. Simon, I hate movement decks. Playing Agatha while at work. Agatha while at work is a big move. I did it before Lady Sif got nerfed. Bumped up to 3 cost instead of 2, and so it kind of hurt her consistency a bit. Ooh, the Bar Sinister Professor X is pretty big. So now we would have to win both of these. Do we have the means to do that? We could do Magneto here. That would pull any of their 3 and 4 cost cards, which none of their cards hit that criteria. Nanner B, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the content. I try to keep it varied. I try to keep it kind of accessible for everybody, and so I appreciate that you're enjoying it. Well done. Do you get matched against pull 3 at 474? Depending on your MMR. So if you were close to that at the end of last ranked season, you will match up to some people that have some pull 3 cards. That's what I'm finding on my pull 2 account right now. I think we drop Magneto into Lemuria. We're not going to move anything. We have initiative, so we're still not. They could have a Killmonger. They could have quite a few counter cards, but we're gonna send it anyways. 50-50, Magneto on Lemuria. It's a good call on Lemuria. It outpowers the Destroyer, so we are able to find the early Mr. Positive streamer. We're gonna bump up to 2, and we're gonna jump over into the next one. Yeah, it's gonna be Destroyer. Yeah, that was a good call, guys. So E-Style Gamers, Move Decks is some of my favorite decks, but I really want Human Torch. Human Torch is a really high roll. So sometimes you can get an insanely massive Human Torch. You do have to watch out for Killmongers or Electras, but Human Torch can get insanely large in the right kind of setup. Usually I don't go all in on Human Torch. Usually I go for a little bit more consistency, just because it's so easy to destroy the Human Torch. And then Japrox, how's it going? I'm glad you were able to jump in and join us. And then Surish, hey TLSG, how are you, mate? I missed your streams. I appreciate you being here, Surish. I honestly missed streaming on YouTube. It's just a little bit more accessible for most of our community, and so I don't know where we ultimately land. But I do know that I enjoy a good YouTube stream. So we're gonna use our Dagger instead of Human Torch. The Squirrel Girl tells me that they most likely have a Killmonger. Yeah, so KP matchmaking isn't fully on pools. The first time around, if you're in the lower ranks, a lot of times it will kind of restrict you to the pool. But and then Mayoki, thank you for jumping in and joining us. But as you get higher MMR, sometimes you'll creep into that next pool, especially after 1 or 2 season resets. Then Alex, thank you so much for subscribing to the channel, and then Wingchild, thank you as well. So we are going to go with the dagger. It's going to push over. I really think they're going to have a killmonger that they might try to hold towards the end, and so we want to kind of hedge our bets. So with all of the squirrels out on the board, with them running a Mysterio, they're running a pretty standard counter deck list, and so we have to look out for like Shang-Chi's, killmongers, things like that. 1 alpha. I think streaming in both at a time works. It does. But the issue that I had with it was that my internet connection sometimes just made the stream unviewable, and so then that hurt us overall. And so I have to focus on one or the other. And then Stars and Moons, thank you for jumping in and joining us. I hope that you're having a great day so far. And then Kappa finally managed to catch a live stream again. Weekend was a blur. Kappa, I agree. The weekend was absolutely insane. It was very, very busy. It was pretty productive, but it was very busy. I was really sleepy on the video, on today's featured video. So I don't know. Hopefully that didn't come through too much. But yeah, I was pretty sleepy overall, and I wanted to be able to showcase the movement deck list. Because it feels incredibly strong compared to some of the older movement decks that we used to run. So multiple man seems like he just clogs the board a little bit too much. I know that I saw that question a second ago. With multiple man, if he's not a high power roll, and if he's too high power roll, he's a liability. And so I like the high roll potential of like splitting your power push between your dagger, your Craven, sometimes your Human Torch, and I think we get a lot more upside as a result. So we could do Miles, or we could do Angela and Human Torch. And I don't know which one's going to be best. Because we don't have Heimdall. Right now we do have Magneto, but that doesn't pull any of their current cards. So I'm just going to lock in the Miles. I think that's a little bit safer. It leaves us a little bit of room. Multiple Man does work pretty good if you can bump him. But then with that last turn Heimdall, yeah, he snowballs, similar to like a Human Torch. But at a certain point, you have too much, and so then they work against each other. And so I do think he offers a lot of potential, but I just think in practice it's hard to utilize well. So they have Patriot, so it's not a counter and destroy deck list. It's a Patriot deck. And then Harry and Argumentable and Frank, thank you all so much for the subs. So we can do Angela, we could do Polaris. And that will pull over one of their 1 or 2 cost cards. It'll cap out the Central Park location. And then we'll be able to see if maybe we have a play with Magneto. We can pull 1 power out of this lane with the Magneto. They're not going to be able to put an Onslaught here. Maybe they drop a Mystique this turn. They might. But if not, they're not going to be able to reach this with an Onslaught. No, they do a Sarah. And then the new subs. Yeah, Harry. We are getting so much support. And then Zombie. Jeff has a cool Miles deck with Moon Girl. I feel like most of the time Moon Girl is kind of clunky at 4. Most of the time I feel hesitant to drop her. Because you have to do so much prep work and your hand has to get just right. With that being said, I haven't seen his list. I'm sure that if Jeff ran it, it's pretty decent. But maybe I need to check it out. Then Jake, do they only bring out new cards with every season? Right now they do. Right now they only do 1 card a season, but whenever they release collector's tokens, they're going to bump that up to 1 card a week, and so there's going to be a lot of cards and a lot of changes. Yeah, the Sarah play looks like maybe it is a counter deck, but they just ran Patriot for some reason. And so they could be doing the Shang-Chi. We have initiative, so we could shift our cards with a Heimdall. But that's not going to move our dagger. That's going to move them in order of play. And so Heimdall would shift our Squirrel and our Miles, and then Iron Fist and Squirrel here. So it's not a huge play. I think our only bet is still Magneto, though. And then Sean, I can't believe I almost forgot about your stream. No worries, Sean. No worries. Will done. Is it worth to stay at 474 until collector's tokens? Or just going at 5,000 credits? I would say get a few credits. I don't think it has to be all out 1,000 or 5,000. Just at least until you feel like you're matching up against like either hard bots or things that you just can't outpower. At that point, maybe jump in. I feel like the game opens up a lot whenever you jump into pool 3. And so I think sitting at the edge, especially if you're matching up against other people that have pool 3 cards, I'd say go ahead and make the leap. But it really is personal preference and what you're running up against. Yeah, that one was an oof. We probably should have retreated, knowing that they had such a widespread amount of power. They had the and then they had board advantage on us, especially with the Mysterio. They had a better setup. We probably should have retreated instead of letting that one go through. And then Alucard, you said love and support from Kuwait, all the way from Kuwait. I appreciate the support, Alucard. I'm glad that you're able to jump in and join us. I always love seeing how widespread of a reach that this game and this community kind of draws in. I don't know why it's so fascinating to me. But I just love how we can all kind of connect over something similar when, we may not have much else in common. I think it's really cool. They had a lot of things going on in that deck. They did, Jeremiah. It looks like similar to one of the counter decks I ran, but had the Patriot as well. And so I'm not sure. Akaichu, I miss Clarice. So all three are actually hanging out on the couch there asleep. My daughter was up most of the night, so I think that kept them up most of the night. And so they're all sleeping peacefully on the couch right now. So we can do Vulture. That's not going to reveal this turn. If we get a movement card or enabler, we can pull these, shift them around. And then being able to shift into Danger Room is going to be pretty nice. And then Dingo, have you tried Kingpin in this? I haven't tried it in this one. I'm thinking we might be able to replace Miles, but I haven't personally tried Kingpin in this one. Kingpin, he's a tough one to use. I feel like I want to go all in on Kingpin and then usually end up regretting it. And then Argumentable, been watching your Snap videos for a little while. This stream made me realize I wasn't actually subbed. Thank you for, even if you just watch the videos and you enjoy them and you're not subbed, that's okay. But I do appreciate the support and the subscription. So if we could either do Polaris here, and actually maybe we do Polaris as a way to try and pull whatever card they drop. That way we can enable a cheap Miles Morales next turn, going into turn 5, and then we're setting up for a Magneto play on the last turn. Kingpin and Sarah Miracle is fun. If it lines up just perfect and you have both Arrow and Kingpin, you can do a really sneaky last turn play. The issue I have with Kingpin is that whenever you start running into decks that go wide and just cover a lot of the board, it's really hard to get value out of them. And so that's only one of my only hesitations with it. So I think we're going to drop Angela into Sokovia. We'll drop Cloak here. We can move these cards over. We can move one or both. And then we can either do a Magneto on the final turn. We could potentially do a Heimdall if we draw into it. Or maybe we draw into something else that works better for us. And then Daniel here from Brazil. I like the stream cube gain. Oh, hopefully we gain some cubes today. I said in our Discord that we honestly never know. It could be positive 30, it could be negative 20. It's always fun, but we never know. We never know if we're actually going to gain cubes or if we're going to end up losing them. So we can move these cards. I don't know that. Magneto on the far right is a pretty decent push. They could always move their Devil Dino over, though. Magneto's going to pull their Jubilee and their Wolfsbane over here. This is another one that's not a great setup, and it really depends on how they react with the Devil Dino. So I think we lock that in and just hope that we can outplay them. So the Shang-Chi is... Oh, no. The Shang-Chi is huge. No, actually... Because they had initiative, it didn't trigger. I thought move would have taken priority over the Shang-Chi in that scenario. And so I thought Shang-Chi should have been able to destroy our dagger. Either way, we would have had the point advantage, but I would have thought that dagger would have buffed up at first. We'll take it. Yeah, that was a weird interaction, Jeremiah. We'll take it. We will take the 4 cubes. Oh, actually, no, that's +2 because we were -2. We will take those. We'll take those victories. We can call it calculated. Move, then reverse, then stats. Gotcha. Okay, and so the move takes effect. So if it was something where it was already 9 power, then it would have got destroyed. But since it doesn't, then it's reveal order, and then the stats calculate. That makes sense. Frostbite, I can't get past 70. Everyone has pool 3 decks. Frostbite Gaming. So that's kind of what I ran into with my pool 2 account. Is that you get in the spot where you're running it up against pool 3 decks. I do have one that I'm climbing with right now. I think I'm going to make a video over it. But if you're running into like hard matchups, I would say maybe it's time to jump into pool 3. If you have very many credits, you might just try your luck, see how many, if you pull any decent pool 3 cards, because that could make your climb infinitely easier. Yeah, the deck is pretty decent for TVA. If we can get any kind of early movement, so like Polaris, or if they move their Nightcrawler, we get a cheap Heimdall. We can do a couple of good things. We're gonna go ahead and snap. We're gonna go ahead and snap into it. Soldier from YouTube, long day of school. Well, hopefully you're able to kind of kick back, enjoy the stream for a little while, and hopefully we can gain some cubes for you. We're still not infinite on this account. I've been splitting my attention between all 4 accounts, and hopefully we're able to gain some cubes for you today. So we can do a sneaky Vulture on the last turn. We can partner it with Iron Fist and Vulture. So I think maybe we do, I don't know, that would take away the spot of Miles. We can do Polaris to move their Nightcrawler. I forgot it's delayed. Thank you everyone that just subbed. We have Puede, we have Thaw, we have Z, we have Lawrence, and Spider Jam. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. And then Jake, thank you so much for renewing your channel membership. The support is very much greatly appreciated. Iron Fist plus Vulture is stronger than Vulture plus Miles. Yeah, by one point it is.
Welcome. It took you long enough.
And thank you again, Jake. So I think we're going to start pulling their cards over into Onslaught Citadel. We'll be able to do Iron Fist, potentially Iron Fist and Vulture, and that would push our power here. Ooh, the 7 power is... We'll take it. We will take those. So they can't play into Onslaught Citadel anymore. Because we moved their Ebony Maw over, it buffed up our Kraven. So we now have the lead here. Well, they can move their Nightcrawler over. So we need to still kind of pad it by 2. So we can do the Iron Fist here. We can now do Vulture, which is going to give us an 8 power swing in the TVA. And so that should be, I think, enough for us to lock in. Iron Fist and Vulture mid, Jeremiah. I agree. Like we're on the same wavelength today. And then Drake, you're not too late. We haven't been live that long. Only about 20 minutes. So I'd say you're right on time. And then Arkit, wow, 4 counts, respect the efforts to help us all. And yeah, and the idea behind the 4 counts is that if I'm making pool 1 content, but I have a full collection, we're obviously going to be matching up against people that have, different cards than you're seeing. So I wanted it to be relevant to, whatever pool we were focusing those decks on. And so that's where I came up with the 4 counts. Ooh, so the Maximus and TVA is a really big push, but not as big as our Vulture. And so they're going to win the Mindscape location. We take in the TVA and the Onslaught Citadel, and we will be able to lock in those couple of cubes. Sean, hey TLSG, are there any pool 2 decks that you could fit Magneto in? Yeah, so I actually built on my channel on the playlist section. I have a free to play playlist. I built one. I've been doing a series where I add 1 pool 3 card in with all pool 1 and pool 2 kind of fillers to try and make the best deck that I can. I did cover Magneto in one of those, I believe. Now that I say it, I'm doubting it. Let me double check. I don't want to lead you wrong. I mean, just quadruple check. I'm doubting it now. And then we have Alligator, which, oh wow. That is a tough break. I'm going to go ahead and retreat out of this one. We might be able to find a win condition, but going up against an Infinite early you're most likely it's not going to end well. So we have the oh yeah, so it's Magneto Lockdown. So it's about 3 down on the free-to-play playlist. And so if you check that one out, we did do a Magneto build. And so we'll take the 1 cube loss. Let's go ahead and just rinse and repeat. On that one, it's not worth the additional risk in going up against that uphill battle. And then Farhan, what's TLSG stand for? I'm really curious. So it's kind of interesting. I wanted to at one point just create this air of mystery behind it, where I always told a different story with what TLSG meant. But the first time somebody asked, I got so excited that I just told the real story. And so it stands for that live stream guy. Long story short, long story kind of medium, I guess. About 8 years ago, I streamed for about two weeks. I thought it'd be funny to stream on Twitch with the name That Live Stream Guy. So if somebody found me and they were telling their friends, they'd be like, "Hey, have you seen That Live Stream Guy?" And their friend would be like, "Which one?" And chat shortened it to TLSG for short, and it just kind of stuck. Nanner B, that's what I'm asking. Sorry. If I missed it, I apologize. I want to try to make sure that we get a good balance of both gameplay and Tortillas, Rex and Timothy and Simone. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I appreciate. I'm glad to have you guys here.
Oh, snap.
Old plan is now the new plan. Bring the mystery back before we get too large. And I'd have to try and get creative. Like I started looking up like different things that the TLSG could stand for, and I wanted to create like this weird backstory every single time someone answered. But I got so excited that someone was curious that I just start telling a different story every time, starting the next time you're asked. Okay, I'll start Mayoki. I'll start trying to come up with creative ways to kind of finesse it and see if we can come up with anything funny. I want to hear only wrong answers from now on that I know the right one. See, and then it'd be like a little inside joke. It'd be just like I don't know. I think it'd be funny. And so let's go ahead and play Polaris. We're gonna hit ourselves with quite a few rocks, but we're hoping that. I don't know. We're hoping that by pulling their cards over, we can start buffing up our cards. I don't like playing into the Lechugia, and actually, maybe we just don't. Maybe we'd play into the big house instead. We'll pull their Sentinel over, get close to capping this one out. We'll still be able to play our Miles next turn for a 1 cost, or I guess a 2 because of Dream Dimension. And so we may be able to. We may be able to. Oh, I forgot we had Iron Fist. Oh my gosh, that works. That gaslight guy. What should I work towards building as a new player? Currently working on ongoing at the moment. Timothy, I think it depends on kind of what you're pulling. If you're in pool 1, I'd say Khazar Zoo is the easiest kind of adoption or thing to get into. And so I would say potentially work on like a Khazar or a Zoo build until you get closer to pool 2. Wait, they're losing. Snap, great. So whenever they're losing, we snap. That's what TLSG stands for. This was all planned. This was all planned for Marvel Snap. That laughing Snap gang. Tom Sheldon, Lewis Guillory. See, and then I could tell people that's my birth name. Just Tom Sheldon, Lewis Guillory. For TLSG, that it's been a name passed down for many generations. Then Rich, what is this stream about? The stream is about a movement deck list that we are trying to gain cubes from in Marvel Snap, and then interacting with chat at the same time. So I think we're going to play our miles into the big house. We can always push some of our cards over with Heimdall to make sure we win the Lechugia. Dream Dimension will be a tough one to win, though. Let's see. Nerubian, I saw that your chat came through. Let me try to find it. Hi, TLSG. It's almost midnight in your country. I appreciate you being here so late, Nerubian. That's huge. The support is massive. I greatly appreciate it. So I almost don't want to drop Heimdall here because that's going to push 7 power out of this lane. And then we just had a massive flood of subs. So Nightmare, Dominico, Nicholas, Alo, David, and Libezer. Thank you all so much for the subs. It's very much greatly appreciated. Any tips for early pool 2? I would say I would probably run either a Devil Dino list or a Spectrum ongoing until I got some of the pool 2 cards. So running Khazar Zoo as soon as you get into Khazar Zoo whenever you're in pool 2 is really really tough to do. It's midnight in your country as well. This is a good show before sleep. It's nice to wind down. I've been told that I have a soothing voice. So I think we're just gonna, I don't know. I don't think this is enough of a push. I think they're gonna have like a Devil Dino that they can push into the Gia. But then if they do that, then maybe this was fine all along. ASMR win. I don't know that I could pull off an ASMR. Triluck gets snapped. That's a good one too. Stars and Moons. Any thoughts on a leader deck with mostly pool 2 cards? Do we win that tiebreaker? They win by 14. We win by 13. Not quite enough. Unfortunately, we weren't able to quite get there. True love steals gold. these are some gold suggestions for TLSG. And then Mayoki, the channel is getting so big. It is. We've had so much growth. So on launch, we were pushing in on 4,000. Now we're pushing in on 14,000. So we'll hit 15,000 relatively soon. It's insane. I didn't think 10,000 was ever even going to be feasible, but here we are. And so the growth and all of the just support, whether that be like suggestions or just coming back and viewing, it has been insane. We're pushing for 20,000 next. Be stressed. Hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. Content quality shows. Thank you, Stan. I try to make sure that we do that I'm able to do good quality content, and sometimes you get caught up in doing daily content, and you can get lost in the daily content and lose some of the quality. And so I'm glad to know that it's still. And then Joe Bro, you heard of me from Molt? That's huge. Molt is sometimes pops in my stream. I pop in his sometimes. We have a lot of good content creators here. So I almost want to do a double Human Torch. It's either a double Human Torch or a double Dagger. I think we're going to lean in. We're going to high roll here. We're going to do double Human Torch. Hope that they don't have a counter to it. Next turn we can do a double Doctor Strange to pull both of our Human Torches around. It will actually only pull one, right? So I guess we could push it here instead.
Hey, welcome. It took you long enough.
And then Kello, thank you so much for joining as a TLSG member. I appreciate the support. If you refresh your stream, you now have access to our growing list of emotes. And I'm continually trying to add and update and change them to make sure we have good ones. Kappa, better watch out, Jeff. We coming for you. I don't know that we ever catch up with Jeff. He's been putting in the grind time as well. So he's seen growth alongside that. And then one that's coming up on our tail end is Cozy Snap. He's pushing up on ours and like almost coming up to overtake us. And so it's like a race. It's fun to see all of the growth, one or more of them over. Actually, we could do a double cloak, right? So I think we do this. We're gonna pull with Doctor Strange. Next time we set up a cloak to move some of our Human Torches around. If we can split them, then we can push with Heimdall. Jeremiah, you said stream ? I may have missed one of the questions. Then Sean, I have a great setup now. I airdrop your stream to the TV, and I can play Snap while watching. Don't worry, not stream sniping. I'm not close enough. And Sean, we have a lot of people that will like purposely try to match up with me during the stream. I love going against viewers. Most of the time, they will either tab out or pause the stream while that's in effect, or whenever we're going against each other. But it's always fun to go against viewers or people that recognize me or my content. So I think we do drop the cloak. So we only pulled one Human Torch because it had the +5 power. So let's drop the double cloak. We'll be able to shift one Human Torch and then the other. We have Heimdall for a last turn shift. Clash of Clans, I'm playing you now. Is that you, Laskemia? You watch me, Cozy, and Molt. Good trio. Yeah, we have some really good Marvel Snap content creators. And Binks is another one that's been putting in a lot of grind time, doing a lot of great things. And so I think we've had a lot of good creators for the game, and it's absolutely phenomenal because I want the players to get the best like videos, the best content that they can. And so having a wide variety of different perspectives and strengths and weaknesses, I think that makes for a more well-rounded content coverage. So we can move this Human Torch from middle over to the left. We can move the one from here over. That's going to double both. But we're stacked pretty heavily over into the left-hand side. And then we had another big wave of subs come through. I'll read them in just a second. I want to try to figure out this play first. I think we might actually end up losing this one. I think we push our Miles Morales just to get the 5 power, because we're not going to. Well, we could potentially enable a vulture move, and so maybe we do. Maybe we do. Oh no, we're not going to be able to do a vulture move. I think we do the double Miles Morales, and then we shift these back and forth, and that'll leave us a little bit flexible. We can do a double Magneto drop. They may have us with the double Dracula. Double Dracula is tough to go up against. I think you go for the double Magneto. I think so too, Jeremiah. Cozy made a video with all of the leaked cards. Somewhat crazy. Yeah, so there's been a lot of those that have been data mined for a while, but I think just some of them coming to light, and a lot of those I think will be released in pool 4, and so that should be I'm thinking that should be whenever collector's tokens are released, and so hopefully that'll be soon, and then hopefully we get some pretty cool cards out of it. And so I think we double drop the Magneto. That will be able to potentially group up their Dracula. It could force them into an unadvantageous position with their Lockjaw. It could do a couple of good things for us. So I think we try that. And Arctic, yeah, we'll pull 4. So they're looking for a pull 4, and they hinted at a pull 5 as well. And so I think those are going to be your like Galactus and Thanos, like the really big, really rare cards. I think we'll get snuck into pull 5. And then Jake, do you think there will ever be a competitive scene in Snap? I hope so. I hope that there will be. There is a lot of RNG, and we'll have to see. Is TLSG's voice constantly cutting out? Is it buffering, Q? Yeah, that was a massive last last turn. We did not like the Draculas being stacked up to each other. Had they not had a big power push in Asgard, maybe we could have found the win condition. But those Morbius, those Draculas, just absolutely massive. You refreshed and it fixed. And so I wonder if we were dropping some bits. I'll check the connection after we finish the live. And so with that, we are negative streamer. We're doing a lot of bouncing back and forth. The thing that I find with movement decks is that you have to really plan out your moves, and so you have to kind of be looking multiple turns in advance to make sure that you're positioned well enough for whatever the last turn play might be. And juggling both, I feel like I struggle with the movement deck. I don't think the negative or the positive cubes from whatever we end up with from the stream, I don't know that fully reflects the strength of the deck. So keep that in mind as you're watching it. Then Dad, your stream is fine, TLSG. YouTube is weird and after connection issues sometimes. Oh, gotcha. I'm missing 3 cards to be able to play that deck. Which one, Rocky Road? The Dracula discard? And then Joe Bro, what are collector's tokens? So collector's tokens are going to be a means to have some agency over what cards you unlock. And so it's going to allow you to kind of target periodically a specific card that you want to unlock from, I assume, pool 3 or pool 4. It may be depending on what pool you're currently in. But the collector's tokens are going to replace boosters in the collection track. And so you'll be able to get collector's tokens. You'll have a shop for like different things within that you can spend the collector's tokens on. And it'll be a rotating card. And whenever you see one that you want, you can freeze it. And so that way, whenever you do have enough collector's tokens, you can unlock that card without having to pull it. And then Ferdinand, hi TLSG. Will you join a cube rush anytime? So I would like to do a cube rush. The issue that I've been finding is my schedule is so tough. It's really tough to work around like different time zones and things like that. And so I want to. It's just figuring out the best way to do that right now. What is your favorite deck / archetype? So I really like control archetypes, but I don't think those are great for gaining cubes necessarily. And so outside of that one, the one that I ran recently, the discard, the Dracula Lockjaw rotation deck, was so incredibly fun. I had so much, I enjoyed that one so much that one would probably be one of my favorites right now. Hanson, I need Iceman badly. Iceman is a really versatile. It's one that I think you'll see and play for all the way through pool 3. You should get sleep well too every day. Sometimes the daily content does start encroaching on my sleep, and so sometimes on the weekends I crash for like 12 hours and just kind of refresh. What is the difference with Cube Rush and Classic Stream? So Cube Rush is a kind of semi-competition that that is held, and so with Cube Rush it's like different streamers that are facing up against each other for like they have 30 minutes or an hour, and they see who can gain the most cubes as possible. I've always joked that if I go on there, I'll be the first one to go as negative as possible. We'll have a negative Cube Rush, but it's just kind of a friendly competition right now. Since they can't verse each other, they just rush to see how many cubes you can get in a set amount of time. If Snap gets a competitive scene, would you compete? Joe Bro, I think it'd be really fun to do some competing, and then I think casting would be fantastic too. If I could be like on the sidelines and like shoutcasting the gameplays and the streams, I think that would be phenomenal. Either one, I'd be ecstatic or over the moon to be able to do. Why don't you play Spider-Man Vulture? Spider-Man and Vulture. Oh, I hope we have enough time. I wasn't sure if I was going to Heimdall on this final turn, and Vultures, I guess we could have Vultured here to make sure that it had space to shift over, right? The board's getting kind of clogged, and so pushing cards with Heimdall becomes a little bit less consistent, and so Angela may have been just a tiny bit higher roll for us. But I don't think the Vulture was a bad play by any means. So we could, I mean, Heimdall, this dagger is going to be massive. As long as they don't have a Shang-Chi to destroy it, dagger is going to get another +8. So it's going to be a 19 power dagger that would push into mid. Dagger alone would win this location as long as she had space to move. So we could do Heimdall here. That would push Cloak here. That would leave space. Oh no, we wouldn't have space to push the dagger. But she would have been a massive card nonetheless. And so we gain 1 cube. Let me jump over. Let's see if we can get through a few games rather quickly. I want to gain some cubes, if at all possible. I feel like we're not doing the deck justice right now. And then Bargle, early pool 3 is rough. Can't make any good decks. Seems like everyone else has collections. Any tips? So Bargle, I think it really depends on what pool 3 cards you pulled. So what do you have right now? TLSG as a caster with his calming voice, put a mass audience to sleep. That would be the goal. So we're gonna skip turn 1. We'll drop Craven on 2. Craven into an Iron Fist plus whatever to push over into the Craven lane is big. Michaels, thank you for jumping over and joining us today. I hope you're having a great day. Any good decks for Dr. Doom? So really, yeah. So anyone that runs, I guess Jeremiah answered, but anyone that runs Wong, a lot of times you'll run Wong, White Tiger, and then Odin along with the Dr. Doom as a way to continue to push power wide. And so I think there are some definitely some good ones with Dr. Doom. He does a few things really well. Then Sergeant, but Dagger wouldn't move. You're right. Dagger wouldn't move. It was a little bit too crowded, but her high roll potential is absolutely insane. Being able to gain +2 power if she moves twice in a game, all of a sudden she's a really big unit. And then let me read through some of these subs real fast. Dylan, Lovi, Asuka, Anthony, Andri, and Jalan. Thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I'm so glad to have you guys here. So I think we do Angela into an Iron Fist. That will buff Angela up. We can do Human Torch as the first card we drop next turn. Then we can also drop maybe a Cloak to pull our Human Torch back over after the fact. It'll continue to buff up our Angela. Either that or we could drop Cloak over here and move all of our cards out of the Angela lane to allow her to continue pushing. So I'm actually going to snap here. Wish I had Dagger. It's the only card I'm missing from that deck. Dagger, I think the last update, she got a really sneaky buff. Can you speak Bahasa? No, I can't. I wish I could. The only language that I speak fluently is English. So with this, I actually think we do the Human Torch, and now we lean in even more with the Cloak. So the Storm here is going to make it where we push Human Torch out. Angela gets the big buff. We can move one of our cards back over, so maybe the Human Torch. And then we don't want to do Heimdall on the last turn. We probably are hoping that we draw into Magneto here. He's American, bro. Yeah, and there's a lot of multilingual people, even in America, but unfortunately I just... Not Cloak, Doctor Strange? We could, yeah, I guess we could have pulled immediately over, right, Jeremiah? Doctor Strange would have pulled either Craven or Human Torch. You can speak Malaysian. Yeah, and it's just something that I never was able to pick up. And then Nestri, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. So we can your opponent just retreated right away, didn't even play anything. Sometimes, Rashawn, if I jump into a game and then something comes up, like if I'm multitasking and then my daughter needs me or something like that, sometimes I'll retreat right away. So we can do the Human Torch. I don't think we drop Doctor Strange this turn. I think we wait and see what their power push into the flooded lane is going to be before we decide if we want to pull our Human Torch back out of the flooded lane. So we just need to know if we have enough of a reach here or not. Well, you'll most likely speak Spanish as a second language. That's the one that I took a couple years in school trying to learn, but I just wasn't able to get all the way there. Oh, the Doctor Strange. We're gonna send him the Doctor Strange. Oh man. So they'll be able to move their highest cost card. Oh, that's not great. And he has Doctor Strange, so he can pull his Jessica Jones out of the flooded location. Oh, that was a bad oversight. I overlooked the Mindscape. And then Arkit, hey TLSG, good luck ahead. Have a great day. I gotta retire to bed. I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining us for the little while you could, Arkit. I hope that you have a great night, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you being here. We'll see you either in the next video or the next live stream. Any replacement options for Polaris, Riley? Maybe a Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler's I'm gonna go ahead and retreat out of this one. They have too much flexibility over us. It's gonna be hard enough just to overcome the 6 power here. So we're gonna go ahead and retreat out of this one. We're gonna take the 2 cube loss and just rinse and repeat. So I think Nightcrawler would be a good replacement for Polaris here. I actually took out Nightcrawler to add in Heimdall to have a secondary win condition on turn 6. And so Nightcrawler is kind of flexible. She can buff up your Angela. You can move her out to trigger your Miles Morales. You can move her into a Craven lane to buff Craven. or Nightcrawler, him. You can move him over. And so I think it'd add a little bit to the early game and the flexibility of the list. And then Denzel, I haven't caught a stream in a while. Good to see some movement deck usage. And my only hesitation with movement decks, because I think they're incredibly strong, but I also feel like you have to really think through your plays. And so it's not one that I think it's one that I can't just grind for like 100 games. And so it is one that is a little bit, it doesn't get as much light as it should, because they are really strong. You can do a lot of good things, but you just have to, you know, really think through your play lines a little bit further. And then G Money, why would you press retreat now when you can always press retreat later and have a chance? G Money, that's a good shout out. I should have just done the retreat later just in case. Local Man, how's the deck coming along? This one feels really solid. I know that the -4 doesn't do it justice, but it does feel pretty strong just in general. So we can do Angela, we can do Vulture. We can start working to set, actually. Ooh, no. Hellfire Club is actually tough with Elysium here, because we're not going to be able to drop our cloak necessarily where we want to. So we can still do Angela and Vulture. Cloak is only going to have the option going here or here. And New York's going to allow us to move cards there on the last turn. So if we draw into Heimdall, that's going to be great. But with them having a Warpath, that lets me know they probably have a Destroyer list that we need to look out for. We need to watch out for Professor X on this turn. Oh man, didn't get the notification? Cold Mega, I'm sorry that you didn't. I'm sorry that it didn't come through. Spider-Man, yes. Miles Morales a bit later. Went on lunch just in time for a little cloak and dagger action. D-Link, hopefully we're able to find some upside here for you. So I almost think if I was them, I would lock in Hellfire Club. They have initiative, so even if we did something like Doctor Strange or Miles, we're not going to be able to outpace them locking this one down. So we need to be able to beat 16 power wherever we play. So we can do Doctor Strange to pull Angela over. It'd pull Angela and Vulture. Then we can set Cloak into Elysium. That's going to allow us to pull both of them back, or one or both. And then just kind of start setting up our final turn. RIP Marvel Heroes. Marvel Heroes was released. Said, I believe Cloak and Dagger was supposed to be a new hero coming up for Marvel Heroes, but was never released. Oh, gotcha. Before the publisher went bankrupt. Oof. So we end up not pulling over the cards because of the Cosmo. The Cosmo was a pretty big counter card. Magneto would pull their Cosmo, their Deathlock, or we can do Magneto here to pull, I guess, their cards into 3 different lanes. But they can always pull it back into New York, right? On the final turn. So maybe we drop Magneto in mid. We move Human Torch. We can move both of these on that final turn if we need to. Then if we drop a Heimdall, we'll be able to move them twice. I don't think it's a great play line, but I think it's the one that we're going to go with. And then Andrea, you said, hey, TLSG, just subbed, watched some videos before, just stuck at 93, collection level is 800. Nothing is helping Agatha Wong or Infinite. And then Andrea, have you tried... I made a suggested Wong build. If Wong was like your first pull 3 card, that builds around, it's kind of like an Odin on reveal, but it just has a high roll. So it leans into being able to do a White Tiger to go wide and fill up the entire board with White Tiger tokens, or really elevate one of the lane's power pushes. Have you tried a Wong on reveal list? I think that's probably, out of the ones that I saw you list, I think that's going to be your strongest bet. And then Sporty Gaming Legends, Thom, Patrick, Whitson, FPL. Thank you guys all for the subs to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic day so far. So they did destroy our Human Torch. So we can move Vulture over. I don't... So if we did Craven, move Vulture over, we can do Miles and Polaris into Elysium. It's going to give us a pretty big push in both of these two lanes. I don't know that it's enough of a push, especially if they have a destroyer that they use to kind of lean into this one and forego this one. But I think it's a decent shot. Ooh, so they do move their Warpath over, which is a big power push into New York. I don't know that with our Vulture move and our Craven move, I don't know if that quite does it. We do move their, oh my, we move their armor out. They're now going to reveal. Okay, no, I thought it was going to be a destroyer. They dropped Professor X. We were still able to find the win. I thought they were going to wipe out their entire New York location because we moved their armor on them. We will take the 4 cubes. We'll take the 4 cubes, revert back to Mr. Neutral, and now we are on the upward ascension. We are working on being positive. Rando Calrissian, no, yo, are we live? We are live, Rando. I don't think you're too incredibly late. Okay, it's been 55 minutes. You're a little bit late, Rando, but you can always go back and watch the video on demand. It goes live as soon as the stream ends. I am glad that you were able to jump in and join us now, though. Elmo, yeah, it would have been really funny to see them destroy their whole board because we got the high roll of the armor pool. Trying to build a basic move deck still sucks. Basic move can have a high. It's been, yeah, Rando. Basic move like pull 1, pull 2 can do well. It just has some consistency problems or issues. So they have a Bucky Barnes, but they also have a Sunspot. So I would think that they were running Killmonger, but since they dropped Sunspot, I'm not as sure anymore. Let's go ahead and drop our dagger. We're going to drop it into this last location. We have Doctor Strange that we can pull a card over. We have Polaris that we can move their Sunspot around. So maybe we pull their Sunspot into Sewer System as a way to make them destroy it. Ooh, and then we get Sanctum Sanctorum. So I don't think they're going to have a way to go wide here. So I'm actually going to lean into the fact that we have 1 power and Sanctum Sanctorum over them. Maybe they have a Killmonger, or maybe they have a Nightcrawler that they'll be able to move over. But I think it's enough that we at least snap on and try to push our advantage. You've brought Sunspot with Killmonger to throw him off. Yeah, I've done it before. It's just you don't see it as often. So I'm going to move their Sunspot over with Polaris here. And then we're going to have to be careful of what movement cards we use. Or actually, maybe we just let them have their Sunspot. We can go Vulture, and then we can move our Vulture with a Doctor Strange to start buffing him up. And then Koshik, hi, I'm new to the streams. I watch your videos, but don't know your good name. Don't know like my real name. Is that what you mean, Koshik? If so, it's Justin. I actually, surprisingly, not many people have asked, but my real name is Justin. When does pull 3 start? So right after 474. I think the first card you pull is 486. Rich. Should be when you start seeing those cards come in. And then Ice, Jackie, and then unfortunately I can't read the other name. Thank you guys so much for the support. And then Kutang, hello, how's it going? And then Kushik, yes, your real name. I got your name now, Mr. Justin. And then Kaichu. Yep. Not. I think it's only been asked maybe once before, and that was on our our launch live stream. And so. Yep, it is Justin. So let's pull our Vulture over with Doctor Strange. If we can lock down Sanctum Sanctorum, then we just have to win one other lane. And so if maybe we drop a Cloak and we move Vulture again, then that starts elevating his power a lot. And then Farham, Justin, wow, that name really fits your personality, does it really? I'm glad to hear that. Jill, it didn't ask because you haven't mentioned any socials on YouTube, so I thought you might want to keep it confidential. Yeah, so I have my first name I don't mind sharing. I don't have any of my personal socials linked, but I do have a Twitter that's connected to the account, the Discord that's connected to the TLSG name, and so those I don't mind sharing at all. So with the Cosmo. Do we think they're running a destroyer, and that's why they have the Cosmo here? we're not going to be able to pull any of their cards with our Polaris, so that actually lets us do a Heimdall here if we wanted to. But I'm wondering if we just lean in further into this lane. We could do the Polaris to pull their Sunspot over. We might also do something like this to push a decent amount of power here. We can cap it off with a Heimdall, or maybe we do a Polaris into the mid location. Warpath. So it does look like a destroyer list, and so they're probably planning on dropping their destroyer into this lane. So we can anticipate probably a plus 16 here. So it's going to push them up to 22, and so this is going to push us right up to 22, and so then it would come down to a tiebreaker. So that's not going to be our win condition, unfortunately. Ooh. Polaris would pull their Sunspot over. Cloak would buff this up by 6. That's not going to be our win condition either. Oh no. We might not have a win condition here. And then Luke finally made it to one of your live streams. I'm so glad that you're here, Luke, and Progenito. Thank you guys. And then Farham, Justin Timberlake, Bieber, now Snap God. Oh, I appreciate the support, guys. We could do the Polaris. That's not gonna give us enough reach. If they do have their destroyer, we're gonna be out of luck here. Heimdall would push us into a tie here, but then we lose the tiebreaker pretty heavily. Maybe we just do we try for a Heimdall shift? That pushes some power here, that brings a Dagger over this way. She gets a plus 6 power bonus. I think that might be our closest bet to just try to push for a high win condition. I don't think it gets us there. But we're gonna lock it in anyways. We're gonna see, because Doctor Strange will be the one that goes to the left. So we lose the Daily Bugle by quite a bit, but Dagger does get a pretty large buff now. So it does allow us to win the middle location, but we lose the left by more. So I think that was our closest or best play in that scenario. But just unfortunately, they had too high of a power push with the Cosmo. We just weren't able to make enough happen. Vulture power doubles. If we moved him, he gets plus 5. Are there any good pool decks with pool 2 with Leech? Leech is a really tough one. I feel like even in pool 3, you're gonna get very little usage, very little usage out of your Leech. And then Koshik, sorry to bother you again, but what does TLSG stand for? Hold on. I can't remember any of them, guys. You gave me gold earlier, and I can't remember any of them. Man, I'm choking. So TLSG stands for that live stream guy. It stands for that live stream guy. There were so many too, and so many good ones, and I just couldn't come up with one. So the last snap god. So it stands for that live stream guy. I streamed for about 2 weeks on an account like 6 years ago on Twitch. That I named that live stream guy because I thought it would be funny to. I thought it would be funny for if somebody saw the stream and they were telling their friend, they were like, "Hey, have you seen that live stream guy?" And they're like, "Which one?" And so then chat shortened it to TLSG, and then we kind of went from there. It means the Larry Stoop gamer, the last standing Gustin. I'm gonna get one of these down one day. I always choke as soon as it's brought up, and then I just go blank. What do you think of Wong, White Panther, and Odin? You added BS at the end of it. I think the Wong Panther or Wong White Tiger or White Tiger or Black Panther, and then Odin. I think both of those are incredibly strong. I think they're incredibly strong decks right now that are hard to compete with. If you run against a Cosmo or something that really like restricts your play, at that point it loses its potency, but it's really hard to counter just because it impacts so many lanes. And then Ardrift, good evening TLSG, good to catch your live stream. My schedule this month, hard I only rewatch. I recently opened Death and trying full destroy deck, climbing slowly. Death is a huge one to pull early. I actually think we're going to bounce out of this one. So they have the big, actually no, that's okay, because we can always shift our cards, right? Maybe we try and find the win condition. The peak doesn't help us at all, but I think we might still hang in here for a little bit. But our draft, death is a huge one to get early on in pool 3. And so definitely get the cubes while you can. Oh my, we gave them the perfect out with our cloak. Well, so we can do vulture here. We can eventually push it over. I'm wondering, maybe they won't move anything over. If they do, then we can kind of adjust from there. But we know that their Odin is out of the picture. I didn't pay attention to what they discarded with Lady Sif to know if it's maybe it's going to run a Ghost Rider to resummon. And then Mattis, good day, let's move. We're trying to move it. And would it be better to swap Dagger for Nightcrawler / Hulkbuster? Have found her underwhelming compared to Vulture and Torch. I like Dagger. I think Dagger can be pretty big. So like moving her here is going to give her an easy +8, which can allow you to swing games, especially if you do a Heimdall shift at the end. So I like her in the list, but I do think Nightcrawler is a pretty decent kind of sub. Is the stream back for anybody? Kaichu. And then Rich, how much longer is it back, guys? Seems to be back. Good, yeah. It's looking green. It's looking green now. So how much longer are we live? It depends. So right now I'm and then Farhan, you may refresh, and then Kutang, you may refresh the stream. Cold Meg, I thought it was just you. No, it looks like my connection dipped just a little bit. I'm going to drop Miles Morales and... Ooh, so they skip here. They're looking for potentially an Infinite on this final turn. Yeah, it's back. Man, sorry. No. That's not your fault at all. We're good. We're back. We're back, guys. The stream died for about 1 minute. That's... I don't know what's going on with our connection today. I have to call the provider. So they skipped last turn. They're going to have an easy Infinite somewhere. We gave them a huge opening to drop an Infinite here. But we have... it's the inverted Magneto. Otherwise, the 12 power here might be decent. Then the name is Bacon, Yudi, Jackie, Ice. Thank you all so much for subbing to the YouTube channel. So the Infinite is going to be their big play. Dropping Heimdall here doesn't do great for us. You're getting too popular. We're slowing you down. We're using too much bandwidth. I think we have to retreat out of this one too, because I think Infinite here is going to be the winning play. Or Infinite here, we just can't match that power. The hard retreat. I want to be gaining some cubes, but I think I think we mitigate our losses where we can. G Money, I hear Zero the hero. What deck should I run with Patriot, Captain Marvel, Zero, and Arrow as my first pull 3 cards? Captain Marvel is a pretty flexible one if you can get her out onto the board. And then Zero's pretty decent, but usually you want to have like a Red Skull to go along with it. Red Skull Typhoid Mary is pretty big. Patriot's kind of a tough one. I think using your Captain Marvel just in a kind of a tempo deck. So maybe something that runs Storm, you can push additional power over there with your Captain Marvel late game. That may be kind of the best fit for you. And then Farhan, do you think Vision is good for movement decks? I don't personally like Vision in movement decks. I know a lot of people do, but I feel like with Heimdall we shift our power enough that I usually don't get much value out of it. Trying to decide whether to buy the 1200 credit Sif card from your shop. You don't play discard much now, but I know I probably will in pool 3 once I get Dracula stuff. I'm not sure which one it is. I know that we've rated some in the Discord. We actually did an entire variant face-off, and Jeremiah put in a lot of work into like building some really cool graphics for it. And so you may ask over, or maybe you take a screenshot and ask over in the Discord, because I think you may find some more answers. Vision sucks. Vision's tough to use. Whenever he gets utilized well, he can swing a game. But I feel like more often than not, he's just a clunky 5 cost. Is there good replacements for Calling Wing and Hellcow on the rotation? Moon Knight would be one, but the other one's tough. So Calling Wing really helps enable your Swarm army, and so the Swarm army is really one of the biggest parts about that deck in being able to rotate easily. So I think Calling Wing is, you could get away without Hellcow probably, but I think Calling Wing is more critical. You wish Black Bolt was better? Yeah, Rando. I have a really good Black Bolt variant as well, and so I wish he was good. I wish he was better. So we get 2 Hulks from Gamma Lab. I think we drop maybe a Polaris here to pull their Sunspot or their Domino over, and then we can do our Miles for cheap next turn. We can always do our Iron Fist as the kind of follow-up to our Miles. And unless they have a Shang-Chi, then I think it's going to be hard for them to reach and beat us in Gamma Lab, and then we just have to worry about winning the other one. Yeah, Black Bolt's variants are... Yeah, his variants are really cool looking. Vision is better on the Bar Sinister. It is that's true, Kushik. He is good on Bar Sinister because then you have a lot of flexibility. But without that location, he's kind of tough. And then Marvin, good morning TLSG. I started playing Snap during the first season pass, and you're completely hooked with the game and your videos. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the videos, Marvin, and the game. So from the moment that I first tested out the game, tried out the game, and logged in, I've been hooked too. Like it's had its claws in me. And that's been about 5 months, and I still enjoy playing it every single day. And then Sasuke, another YouTube stream. Yeah, we are at a YouTube stream. We're at it again with a YouTube stream. So let's go with a Miles Morales. We can go with Iron Fist here. We can do Dagger from Gamma Lab over into Monster Metropolis. That's going to give us a little bit of a buff here. And then we're going to have to rely on dropping our Magneto into Crimson Cosmos to find our win condition, or maybe we get a Heimdall and we can shift our cards over. Vision also sucks on Infinity Ward. He's useless, to be honest. He didn't get to shine in Infinity War. You bought the Iron Fist variant today? The live action variant, I think. That one, if I remember right, that one is really solid. We can do a Polaris into the Gamma Lab to try and find a win condition here. But we pull 3 and 4 cost cards, which is going to mean they're Ghost Rider. And pulling these cards is going to mean, oof. Our Miles Morales is going to be the one that we move. That's going to be another retreat, guys. Oh man, we're having a rough rough go of it. We're at negative 10. I mean, one good game is going to get us back in there, but we haven't been doing the deck justice. My variants are Shocker, Nightcrawler, Forge, and Claw. The ones that you have right now, G-Money. Any tips for pull 2 decks against pull 3 builds? It's tough, Marvin, but I do think that there are a couple. So Sasuke negative 10. Yeah, we're having a rough go of it. We've been up and down. As far as the pool 2 builds, I do think there's a couple. It does get kind of tough just because some things you're just going to get outpowered. But I'm working on one. It's somewhat of a destroy build that I've been having decent luck with. I'm still climbing. I'm getting close to 80 on the pool 2 free to play account, which I'm matching up against pool 3 players now, because we're at the tail end of the collection there. So I think we drop Dagger. We can do Cloak next turn. That way we can move Human Torch, we can move Dagger, we can buff them both up, and then we can kind of start positioning ourselves in a position to win after that. Pretty sure it's just unlucky. And movement decks are really hard to navigate. So I feel like any kind of distraction can really negatively hurt you with a movement deck. And so I do like keeping up with chat. And so I feel like maybe some of it's luck, maybe some of it's just the matchups we're going against, maybe some of it's being a little bit distracted. I think there's a mixture of things here. So we can do Iron Fist into a Cloak, that will move our cloak over, but his on reveal effect will stay here. And then we could move our Vulture, our Human Torch, our Dagger, and then we have the option of doing either Magneto or Heimdall in that last turn. And having Cloak over here kind of opens up a little bit more space for us to move cards around. And then Lord A, should I upgrade any card that I can or hold on? It depends where you're at. Zone of Silence? No, so the Isle of Silence just cancels ongoing, not on reveals. But I would say that if you are running into really hard matchups, so if you're in Pool 2 and you're versing Pool 3 cards, at that point you might as well just jump into Pool 3. I think that'll give you quite a bit of flexibility and quite a bit of upside. So it looks like a Spectrum ongoing deck list to me. Either that or maybe it's a mixture between that and Destroyer. So they could end up doing... They could end up doing Professor X here this turn. I think we're going to drop an Angela into the far right lane. We keep our Iron Fist here, but we really double down and lean into this location. And this will keep our Dagger here. Maybe we need to look at the order that we move the cards in. So let's do Human Torch first, and then Cloak. And then we'll do Vulture. And then Dagger. And the reason that we're reordering those is if we do a Heimdall shift, we want our two less impactful cards to move out so we can keep a big power push in Tinkerer's Workshop. And so let's go ahead and lock this one in. How do you move between pools? And then Thom. So it's not a dumb question. It's a very common question, actually. And so how do you move between pools? So your collection level will dictate kind of which card pools you're pulling from. And so pool 1 is from collection level 0 through 214. Pool 2 is from 214 through 474. And then right now, pool 3 is anything past that. And so they do a pretty big push with Ant-Man into the Tinkerer's Workshop. But they would have to drop their Spectrum here if they were going to do Spectrum, or they could do Destroyer here, which both of those would, I don't know that it would find them in the win condition. So we do get a cheap little 2-cube gain. Let's try and climb a little bit more. We got to climb out of this deficit we're in. And so thank you guys for all of these subs that just came in. We had Mad Max. I don't think I read yours out. We have AH. We have G-Bala. We have Diego. We have Nick. We have Walid, and then 14 Yukon 41. Thank you all so much for joining the channel, for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. I enjoy having you here. I hope that you enjoyed the stream and the content. And then speaking of enjoying the stream, if you guys are liking the live streams on YouTube, make sure to give it a like. It helps the algorithm let it reach a wider audience so that they can enjoy as well. So Mad Max, is Vision necessary to have in a Pool 2 move deck? So Mad Max, I actually did a version of a Pool 2 movement deck, and I didn't use Vision. I used the Iron Man instead, because he's able to really swing one lane. And then if you do shift, then it's a little bit less flexible than Vision if you don't have your Heimdall, but it's the higher high roll. It gives you another win condition. So I actually like Iron Man a little bit better in movement decks than Vision. So right now we don't have any way to pull our cards over into Strange Academy. We can do Dagger Angela, or we can do Dagger Human Torch. But I think we wait, because if we get something like a Cloak, we can pull these out, we can play these out of the Strange Academy location and then move them into it. There's the Cloak that we were speaking of. We can play both Dagger and Human Torch. Next turn we can do a Cloak into Strange Academy. We can pull both of these over. That'll allow us on turn 5 to do a cheap Miles. Those will move across the board. Both of them will get buffed up, and we'll be able to kind of find some upside. Yeah, Vision usually only gets one move, and if you play him strategically, you don't really need to move him anyways. And so then if you drop a Heimdall as well, then it's going to push your Vision anyways. And so it's a lot of times I feel like he gets tacked in just because he has the movement capability, but I don't find that you get much usage out of him. Human Torch, Flame on, Killmonger is Flame off. Killmonger is always a concern with Human Torch, and we don't know enough about their deck right now to know what they're running. So actually, we can still do Cloak here. I don't think we drop Vulture because then he would be the only one that would get moved out. This way we're going to move 2 over, be able to support. And then Mr. Keys, thank you so much for the sub to the YouTube channel. I appreciate having you here. And then the Rainbow Pit. My issue with movement decks is I'm not confident in them. So we can do these 2. We can drop a Vulture. And then depending on where everything goes, we do have Heimdall to shift away from the Isle of Silence, which that's going to be their big push. And so with Dracula, a lot of times that's going to be a really big push for them. And so we're going to be able to shift things away from that location. Maybe if we get lucky, our Dagger and Human Torch will go here, and we can make a big push into the Strange Academy and Shadowland as a result. And so I do think we're in a pretty good spot with the free movement from Strange Academy, unless they counter it here with something like a Storm or restricting that movement. And then Dirty Larry, I'm curious, I see the basket in every video. Is it laundry or dog toys? So it's actually blankets. It's blankets. It looks like laundry, but it's blankets for, like, extra blankets for the couch, or for my daughter, she likes to climb up in the window and just kind of look. And so, yeah, it does look like dirty laundry though. So our biggest card is Human Torch. I'm curious, they have Sarah, they're going to be able to play quite a few cards. I don't know what they're running though, with Angela, Dracula, and Sarah. So I'm wondering if maybe we need to do something like Doctor Strange to pull our Human Torch here. He becomes a 16 power push. Actually, could we do something like Iron Fist into Doctor Strange? He'd clear an opening here, and then we could push Doctor Strange over there to keep our power there. And then we lean a little bit more into the middle. I'm at a loss. I don't know what kind of deck they're running. Sarah has me kind of concerned. They could be running a Killmonger. It could be some kind of counter deck, so Killmonger, Shang-Chi. But I think we lean in with this. We push a little bit more power into the Isle of Silence in case their Dracula kind of whiffs, and then we'll pull our Human Torch into Strange Academy. That'll be a big one. If they can't counter it, then we should be fine there. And then we'll just kind of look. Anybody check out Wakanda Forever? I've seen a few people saying they're going to see it, but I haven't heard anything about if it's good or it's Dagger. Dagger, not our Human Torch. Well, either way, Dagger's huge too. Dagger is 17 power, which she is massive. Being able to move into those 4 cards was huge. And then Andy Trout, or I guess Forndy Trout, thank you so much for the sub. And then Mikolaj, thank you so much as well. And so they do get a pretty good upside in the Dracula pool, but we had enough power there. We had enough power in Shadowland that they weren't able to fully capitalize on it. We cut our cube gain or loss in half. We are now just -4 streamer. We're gonna see if we can get positive before we wind down. Dracula and his chicks is Broken Boy. Is that an actual deck? Q, as far as you're concerned, most people gave it a rating of Wakanda Pose out of 10. I feel like it needs to be good. I hope that it does the series and just the actors. I hope it does justice. I'm not gonna lie, I lost 80 cubes yesterday. Meme Goblin. It happens sometimes. It can happen faster than you realize. What does Dagger do? So Dagger, whenever it's moved to a location, it gets +2 power for every card that your opponent has, and so it can get really big really quickly if you move it a couple of times. The last snap genius. We're gonna be the last snapper standing. You watched it last night and didn't really care for it, Mateo. Did you care for it more than Thor: Love and Thunder? Because that one also got a lot of grief, and I watched it recently and it was okay. I do see where people were maybe not impressed with it. So let's go Craven into the far left. We're gonna be able to push cards around and start buffing him up eventually. the movie is stellar. They never call it Atlantis, and Namor is not angry enough. But those are my nitpicks. I did see that Namor was featured in it, and so I'm glad that he's finally featured, because before this game I really didn't know much about him, and I said his name wrong for months before somebody was like, "Hey man, it's not Namor, it's Namor." And so I'm glad that he's finally. I know that they kind of rewrote his backstory, and so that's always kind of a bold thing to do. So I think we do Vulture into Mojo World. We can pull it over with Doctor Strange. If we get something like a cloak, then Mojo World is going to be okay. Never mind. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. The Cosmo here, that's fine. Cloak, we won't be able to move anything with Cloak though. So we do need to either really heavily push these two, or choose to lean into Mojo World. So let's still do the Doctor Strange. We'll move Vulture over. That'll be a pretty big power push here. We can invest a few cards next turn, so like Angela, Miles Morales, maybe even Dagger, and that'll give us the option to either cap this one out entirely. Ooh, so they're running a Destroyer list. And so with Warpath, they may run a Destroyer here and destroy these cards. I think we look at it, depending on how the rest of the game goes. Denzel, haven't seen the movie, but I like their take of Aztec. I like their take Aztec on Namor. Yeah, I've heard really good things about how they portrayed and how Namor was kind of written, and his just his character. So I think we do lean in to the Mojo World location. And then from there, we can decide if maybe we do a Magneto to try to pull their Cosmo out of the Mojo World lane so that they destroy their cards. Maybe it pulls their Warpath. We have some flexibility in kind of disrupting if they don't lock down one of these lanes. You like Forge over Angela? Because Forge into Dagger makes her 3 power. Same as every important card you want to move. And so I think as far as a Doctor Strange synergy, it could create a high roll. I think Angela is just a little bit, for me, the reason she's in this one is she creates a little bit more consistency, is the thing that I like about her. So we could do a Heimdall to shift our cards over, but I think instead we go with a Magneto. The Iron Man here is big, but if we pull their Warpath out, if we pull their Cosmo over, then we know that we're going to have at least a tie for the amount of cards in this lane. And they may just drop a Spectrum. And if we pull most of their cards out of this lane and they drop a Spectrum, I think we can outpower them here. I think we have Mojo World locked down. Either that, or maybe we do Heimdall. We could do a Heimdall shift. Move one Rafter, move these 3 over. Dagger would buff up. I don't know, I kind of like the Magneto to misplace or displace their Warpath and their Cosmo here. That's what we're going to lock in on. We'll see which one it pulls priority-wise. It does pull their Warpath. So I think that gives us a win condition in the left lane, which is the one that we needed to win. Oh, no, so we tie the left and the middle location. We blast them out of the waters with Mojo World because we have more cards than they do there. That was the play. We should have snapped into it. We could be Mr. Neutral Streamer. But we are climbing. We are getting some upsides now. So we're finally kind of finding our footing after a little over an hour, which is good. It's good. Dad, got a meeting. Have a good afternoon, TLSG. I'm so glad that you were able to join us today, Dad. I hope that you have a great meeting and a great afternoon. We'll see you either tomorrow on tomorrow's video or maybe tomorrow's live stream or in the Discord, of course. And so let's see. We have Iron Fist. We have Angela. I think here we just skip turn 1. Nathan, who would you replace Polaris with? I don't have her. I would say either, probably a Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is going to be pretty flexible in buffing up your Angela, buffing up your Kraven by moving around. And then FM Cheese, thank you so much for subbing to the YouTube channel. So we can do Angela here. We can drop our Iron Fist and Human Torch next turn. That'll start buffing him up. We can double buff up the Angela lane if we want to, and then we can kind of go from there. And then Rich Story, you said, is Marvel Snap your one? My one what? Like the game that I focus on? Oh, is it my favorite mobile game? And if not, what is? So I think it is. So it's a lot of my issue with a lot of mobile games is my issue with a lot of mobile games is that a lot of them are just kind of copy paste of the same game, and they run a lot of ads. They run a lot of like really intrusive things where it's trying to grab people into buying a lot of like gotcha style pulls, a lot of just some really like negative things that I don't enjoy about like the freemium model. And so I think Marvel Snap does a good job of not relying just on kind of in-app purchases as far as like advancing your progress. You can compete with anybody at any level, whether you spend anything or not. And so I think for me, at least right now, it is one of my favorite, if not my very favorite mobile game. You accidentally touched the arrow too early. Oh, got you, Rich. Sometimes I do that. I'm trying to like space down and I hit enter and then I send the whole message, and then I have to frantically wait, Rando, is this a snap? Rando, is this a snap? We had our Human Torch destroyed. I mean, we can snap if you're if you're confident. We'll snap into it, Rando. Oh man, we have a big Angela. That's for sure. Look at all these viewers. The streams are getting bigger. They are. We're seeing an insane amount of the growth. We need to figure out our play. I think we'll do Craven into Miles Morales. We don't have a great finisher. Excited to see your growth. I'm excited just for our community to continue growing. It's just so nice to see. Just all of the support, all of just. We started this channel. I didn't really expect it to really do a whole lot, and it's every day it surpasses my wildest expectations. And so I'm so excited to see where the community and where our channel goes. And I'm so humble and thankful for all of the support I've had along the way, and just all of our viewers. So we could do Vulture, we could do Polaris as a way to pull one of their cards around. If we do Vulture and then maybe a Doctor Strange next turn, that'll pull our Angela here and allow it to buff up. Or we could do Doctor Strange here and buff it up in Wakanda. Maybe we do Polaris over there. We don't have a great finisher just yet, and so I think we play the Vulture and just kind of see what we draw into. 356 viewers and only 56 likes. So I think it's a little bit higher. On my end, I show 133 likes, which is still pretty good. But that's a good reminder. If you are watching the live stream and you do enjoy the streams, then if you could give it a like, it helps the algorithm. It helps it find a wider audience. So let's do a Polaris here, and then we're going to do a Doctor Strange. That'll guarantee that we don't have to worry about the 25% chance that our card will get destroyed. We're going to guarantee that we pull an Angela over. My only concern becomes do we have enough push in Atlantis after that? So the Devil Dino is a pretty big pool for him. We might lose this one, but we're gonna risk it. We want to become Mr. Positive Streamer. Daddy Gaming. Hated catch up on the stream. You doing great, man. Thank you so much, DaddyGamingNightly. I appreciate it. Oh no, we should have went with anything else but Doctor Strange here. We're not gonna have enough of a push. We are shy in the Atlantis lane by 2. Unfortunately, just not quite able to keep up. So we are now down to -6. We're hovering between the -10 and neutral, which is good. We're hanging in there. And then Joel Leal, thank you so much for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate having you here, and I hope that you enjoy the stream and the subsequent videos afterwards. Strange Killer, you said pulled Wong earlier on level 634. Wong is a huge one to have early on. He enables so many like really cool high-end combos that I think he's one you're going to use quite a bit. Just imagine having 350 plus watching you, man. That's big. Yeah. So I try not to look at the numbers too much, because I never want to psych myself out and be like, oh, we have 350, and then it drops down to like 300, and so I always try to keep an eye on chat, keep just a loose eye on the concurrent viewers. But yeah, from starting with our first stream of having like 30 viewers, and then slowly going up to 100. We had around 200 most of the day during the launch, and so to have 300, 400 is massive. And I appreciate everybody that's here, whether you're actively chatting, whether you're a lurker. Everyone is appreciated here. Let's drop our I need to slow down a little bit. Let's drop our Angela and our Miles Morales. So they have a multiple man, but moving him across the board becomes he's a 3-power card, and so it's not all that impactful. And so I think we drop Angela, Miles Morales. We do have a big shift with Heimdall in the last turn if we want to. Our Polaris will not. Ooh, actually, we probably don't want to drop our Polaris because that's going to pull a 1 or 2 cost card, unless we want to try and force them to capping out one of these locations early. And then, Rich, do you stream every day? I try to do a lunch live stream every day, around 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then go for a little bit depending on what my work schedule looks like. But some days I get pulled into meetings. Sometimes I have in-office days, and so not 100% of the time. But I try to be as consistent as possible with the stream every day. Oh no, the stream may have just died on us. That's one of the struggles we're facing today, is that the stream keeps dipping. We can do Polaris here. That's not going to move anybody over. And that's going to buff. It shows 0. It shows 0 bits uploading now. Hopefully it was wrong. Now it's back up. I'm not sure why it's lagging, guys. I apologize. And then, Rich, do you stream on the weekends? Sometimes. Sometimes I do. Last weekend I streamed for, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours. It just depends on the day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm not able to fit it in with the rest of my schedule. So we can do a Craven here. Hey TLSG, thanks as always for the great content. Nicest guy on YouTube, Luke Anderson. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here and just appreciate the support. So I think we drop Craven into Dream Dimension. I think we probably go with Magneto on the final turn. Ooh, so their cloak allows them quite a bit of flexibility here. They might be able to find a win condition in Washington, D.C., but I don't think we can win if we do a Human Torch, or if we do a Heimdall. They don't have a Craven, though, so we could always move our Craven over. It would buff from anything that they moved, but I think that's kind of I think it's a trap. Let's just go with what we were going to go with. We're going to keep our push in Washington, D.C. We're going to pull one of their 3 or 4 cost cards if they have any that's within range. Vulture would be a bad one to pull. We don't want to pull their Vulture. So if they moved their Vulture over here and then we pulled it back, there's no way that we win. That's another +10 to this card. The multi-move is messing with me. Maybe we lean in. Maybe we outpower them. I think we outpower them with movement. We're just gonna move our cards over. We're gonna do Magneto mid, and we might as well lean all the way in here, and we'll see. We're going to do Magneto mid because I don't know that I think if they do a Heimdall, that'll keep it here. Oh no, we're going to pull. Okay, no, we're fine. We're fine. So we give up the far right lane. The Killmonger, is huge. That takes away a lot of their power into the Nova. Oh no. Yep, we're not gonna outpower them. We would have been fine had we stuck with what we were thinking. Did we die completely for a minute, Rando? Had we stuck with what we were thinking with the Magneto in the far right, we would have been able to do it. Unfortunately, we second-guessed ourselves, and that brings us back to -10. Nightmare, what's the best full 2 deck in your opinion? I think, so for me, what worked really well from 45 to about 75 was a counter deck. So something that ran a few early game destroy cards, along with running Killmonger, Shang-Chi, and Enchantress. That combination, I had like an 83% win rate from 45 to 75, and it was an average cube gain of like 3 per game. After I hit 75, it dropped off really hard, but I actually recommended that one in... I recommended that one in the video, it was the top 5 decks. It's the one that had Deadpool as the thumbnail. And so if you are interested, check that one out. It's the Pool 2 deck recommendation. I haven't done a full video over that one just yet. I'm not sure if I will, but that is one I would recommend for the early Pool 2. And then once you start matching up against a few harder opponents, maybe at that point you lean into doing like a full destroy deck. Diego, hey TLSG, love your videos. Do you think Second Dinner should continue releasing 1 card a month or change to expansion type? So they're actually gonna do neither. Their goal is to release 1 card a week, and so eventually I think that they said whenever they release collector's tokens, they'll be releasing 1 card every week, and so that's not great. We get massively outpowered in the Gamma Lab. We could have pulled one of their cards over with Polaris, unfortunately. But their end goal is to release 1 card every week, and that will come with collector's tokens. I think at that point it'll start feeling a little bit more fresh and varied. And so I think that should at least keep it interesting for a while. So the Zenith and Mid Dynasty, and then Eric and Joe, thank you all for the subs to the channel. Yeah, 1 per week is going to be amazing, especially with the new featured locations, the hot locations each week. I think it'll continue to feel fresh and different. Would be nice if they gave the option to change borders. That would be, I think that's something that they want to do over time. I don't know that it's something that they have lined up just yet. But I do think it's kind of in their sights. Being able to downgrade, so like if I upgrade past Legendary, can I push this back to Legendary? Is something that I think would be cool and be a win in the long term. Rich, you should do a video where you use random draw cards and try to get the unable cards. Oh, so like pulling Thanos, pulling Thanos and Galactus. Yeah, that would be pretty, seeing how long it takes, because you could use things like Nick Fury, you could use things like Agent 13. It doesn't take as long as it used to. So I think it could be pretty cool. We can double down, we can do a Magneto and a Miles here. Because they used Wave, that allows us to do 2 cards. They're going to be able to do 2 cards as well. So if they do a Death and something else, maybe we get outpowered in the Bifrost. But I think this is going to give us the best shot. We don't have to worry about the Hulk lane. We get a pretty big push in Gamma Lab. We might lose to a Death and a Taskmaster, but I think we're gonna lean in. Rando, took you long enough? And so the Arrow and then the Death. We don't outpower 23, do we? No, not quite. It's a rough. It's a rough cube stream. Oh, we are Mr. Super Negative. Also, it was an accident. I was trying to turn off notifications, but accidentally unsubbed. Oh, it was the Zenith. So that was really just an existing sub being goofy. That happens. That happens to the Zenith. You got a shout out anyways. I appreciate you being here, whether it was subbed today or subbed a while ago. Related to the game, I just played Killmonger Shang-Chi, are incredible rude cards, and I love them. They are really rude cards. The next rudest card is probably Debris, along with your Goblins and your Vipers. All of those, I think, are really rude cards, and I enjoy them. Yeah, YouTube in the Zenith, YouTube delay or notifications are delayed a decent amount. So it's usually about 4 minutes before the notification comes through on my end. Genesis, hey GG, feels like it's been a while since I ran into you in game. Genesis, that was a really good game. We've been having a cube drought today. But yeah, it's been a while since I've been splitting my focus on 4 different accounts. I haven't been able to focus so much on TLSG on the main account. I am glad that we ran into each other, and I'm glad that it was a close game. I wasn't quite able to overcome the Arrow Death. Yeah, the Arrow Death deck is incredibly consistent. It's one that if I wanted to climb and try to like really push, I think Death Wave would be kind of my go-to experiment right now. Either that or a Deadpool death deck. Both of those are, I think, in a really good spot. The rando. So how are you feeling about move? I still like to move it. It doesn't like me, but I enjoy it. I think -14 in the grand scheme of things is pretty low. It could come down to a few bad matchups. Hopium, copium. We're gonna lean in. I still think it's really strong. So let's go with Craven. We can go with the Polaris to move cards into Strange Academy. Time to move on. I could always hop back over into the Lockjaw discard rotation. That one's always incredibly fun. I don't know that it's as consistent as like a Death Wave, but yeah, it is a really fun one. The Deathpool deck you posted has been working for you. Yeah, I think that one's probably like a really close runner-up. I think our 3 probably most consistent decks right now are the Deadpool Death Wave, the Arrow Death Wave, and then the Sarah Miracle. That one's been in a good spot for like 5 months. Ever since beta was released, I feel like that one's been in a good spot. And so I think all of those benefit and do really well in the current state of our meta. So they have Patriot. If we can draw into Magneto and they have enough space, we can pull their Patriot out of the Onslaught Citadel and cut their ongoing upside in half. That is what we're going to need to draw into to find the win condition here. Since we've already locked in with two cubes, we're not going to snap just yet. If we draw Magneto, maybe we do. But otherwise, we're going to let the Strange Academy do what it needs to do. We're going to allow it to buff up all 3 of our movement cards. We can start enabling some other things with like Cloak and kind of move on from there. Oh, Zero the Hero is another really good one, Rando. That's true. Zero's in a good spot. Those are probably some of the 4 more consistent decks that we have. Zenith, the thing I found with Pool 2 move is that it high rolls really well, yeah, but it's hard to gain momentum. Yeah, if you hit a dead draw or 2, you're going to retreat a lot. You're going to retreat a lot with that deck. So I think here we might even just go with a Cloak. A Cloak and a Miles. That way, hopefully these cards will kind of split themselves. We can do a Heimdall to shift our cards over. We can move some of them over here. If we draw into Magneto, great. If not, then we kind of assess from there. You haven't made it to Pool 3 yet. And then Zenith, it really doesn't take too long. I'd say about 3 or 4 weeks from free to play, you should be reaching at least the starting of Pool 3. Meme Goblin, would Snap be more of a counter game if you didn't randomly draw cards? And so like you knew the order you drew your cards into every time? And then Rando, Angela into Miles. I was trying to leave a little bit of space. I think it would have been good, yes. But I was trying to leave a little bit of space on the board. So Heimdall doesn't feel too terrible here. Except for the fact that we're not really pushing this lane much. The dagger, I think we lose in this lane. Had we been able to cloak in the mid and then push cards over, it would have been a little bit better. But I think we're gonna lose reach. Actually, they have 21 here. Moving this here would win this lane. But is there a way to win the other one? I don't think there is. This is another one we're going to lay down. With the Onslaught Citadel, without Magneto to pull out their Patriot, pull out some of those other ones, we just don't have a good finisher. Oh, and the negative descent continues. We'll find our way back up. Just got my last Pool 2 card on Saturday. Just haven't had a ton of time to play. You'll be able to jump pretty far in there. Heimdall left doesn't work. I don't know that we would have enough of a push in the far left lane. And I don't know if they had a free spot or not. Or a Mystique if they copied the Blue Marvel. It may have worked. I may have not seen the win condition, but Heimdall left without moving anything. That may have given us enough reach. Rocky Road. I think Astros is correct. It's time to move on. All right, we're gonna double down. We're gonna double down. They're gonna double down back at us. If we lose this one, we move on. If we lose this one, we'll run a couple of discard rotation decks before ending the stream. Fisk Tower into a move deck is tough. That's a risky move at least. Any good subs for players in this deck? I'm just getting into pool 3 and got Magneto. Magneto's huge, but I think without Human Torch and Dagger, it's gonna be tough to run. So I think let's figure out our move first. So I think most likely I made a Magneto like only build. It's on our playlist on the channel. It's called Magneto Lockdown. That I think does pretty decently if Magneto's your only pool 3 card. But the highest high rolls here are going to be our Dagger and our Human Torch. And so I think without those two, it'd be tough to run this one. You could run it without just the Polaris. So if you had the other ones, you could do a Nightcrawler instead of Polaris and still probably be okay. So we can just let's destroy their Angela here. We can get the guaranteed destruction because we have initiative. Angela is going to be a non-factor anymore. So we're going to use Fisk Tower to our advantage here. We're going to try and find a win condition in a movement with a movement deck in a non-movement world. Yeah. So we Polaris their card into Fisk Tower to destroy their Angela, to take away a little bit of their power push. The wave is scary though. And if we pull Magneto, we can pull their cards into the middle too. And so the kind of hybrid works decently for us. I think we actually do a Heimdall here. Bait them with Cloak in mid. We could bait them with Cloak in mid. I think we do a Heimdall. We push these cards over. We buff up Kraven a little bit. We start stacking in this lane. We can start moving some of our cards over into Fisk Tower. We can also do a Cloak into Xandar to move our Kraven again. If we draw Magneto by at some point, we're gonna have a really good like last turn push. You guys, this is all calculated. You thought I was crazy. I thought I was crazy. We'll take it. We'll take the 4 cubes. So yeah, we are Rando. We already snapped. Oh man, Jalen, Doc, Greenplay, Sama. Thank you all so much for these subs to the YouTube channel. I appreciate the support. We could do a Cloak in the Fisk Tower if we think we're gonna be able to push there, because they're not gonna be able to do much of anything. Or maybe we do Cloak here. We do Human Torch and Dagger. We can move our cards out of Fisk Tower. So we're going to be able to buff up our Dagger, our Human Torch over into Xandar to find some extra strength in that location, which I think should give us a pretty good shot of elevating our power to the point where we need it to. Grim Chance, hey, loving the stream. Just been lurking while grinding with my janky Ultron deck. Janky Ultron decks they're strong. Like they can be surprising. And so I hope that you're having a good climb at least. So the Hobgoblin is rough because this is going to give us +4 power in this lane. This is going to give us +5 power. So it brings us up to not enough. That's not enough to do it. I don't know that this is either. We can do Angela, Doctor Strange, but I think we lose this one. The Hobgoblin was a little bit too strong. Had we dropped Cloak here, wait, move them and play your card? Move these two? And then play this one? Is that what you're talking about, Q? And Grim Chance, how high have you been able to climb? Lost Souls, it's been a while since you could catch the live stream. I'm glad you were able to catch it today. Move just Dagger. Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin has several counters. It's such a late game kind of risky play that it's hard to pull off. We'll see. We'll see if this is enough. We don't have a good win condition in Xandar, but we're gonna give it a good old shot. Oh, actually, a Human Torch here would have been another 5. That cool. That's okay. We get the tie in Fisk Tower, and we get the tiebreaker. Oh my gosh. We cut our losses in half. Oh my gosh. No, if Jill, if Strange would have pulled Cloak, it would have destroyed our Cloak because of the Fisk Tower lane. Just when move, either move was win. Yeah, even if we moved Human Torch over, it would have doubled. We would have had the win condition over there. Just when move had its back against the ropes, it doubled down. Yo, making moves. Finally, it took an entire stream to make things happen. If I was playing that match, I surely would have lost. We probably should have, Meme Goblin. We probably should have. I started today at 50. I made it to 55. Grim chance. That's huge. As long as you're having fun with it, that's all that matters. Yeah, we're like the Jeffersons. We're moving on up. We'll play a couple more if we can find a win condition and maybe get Mr. Neutral. Please upgrade Dagger. She's like your only unupgraded card. Oh, is she? Okay. Forever Gray. She has been gray for a really, really long time. She deserves to be upgraded. You're right. These are tough. The first 2 locations here are tough. Maybe we do Angela first. We can do a Craven. No, we have Doctor Strange. Let's see what this last location is. But the first 2 are kind of scary. Yeah, so Professor X fully locks down the lane. So no movement, no moving in, moving out, destroying. None of that will work. Polaris is busted on Jotunheim. Being able to pull them over when they don't want to. I really like Polaris on what is the one where you can only have one card in the location? I'm drawing a blank today. Whichever one where you can only play one card at a time, welcome. Or just one card for the game. FM Cheese, thank you so much for joining us as a channel member. If you refresh the stream, you should have access to our growing list of emotes. I appreciate the support, and we are glad to have you here. Space Throne, that's what. Yep, you can pull their card over, and then you can force them to cap it out, and so then you have the 3 versus 5. I always feel like it's the biggest brain play. It may not always be, but I enjoy doing it. Space Throne, that's right. You're stuck at 74. Oh, so they speaking of Polaris into Jotunheim, they just Polarised us into Jotunheim. You're stuck at 74. And Tony, are you in pool 2? Meme Goblin, you were able to tell the future. So we could, and we can't Doctor Strange Dagger out because we have the Craven. We could move our Craven over. Well, that's tough. Maybe we do Angela into Human Torch. We start setting up for a potential either Magneto or Heimdall play. Ooh, they drop Spider-Man on 4. Are they planning a Professor X on 5? I wonder. So if Professor X got hit with the Wakandan Embassy, then they'll be able to lock that one down. And they have initiative here. If not, if we had initiative, we could pull their armor out. We'd be a lot more confident. I think we're going to lean in and try it. I think they probably take the risk and drop their Professor X if it got hit with Wakandan Embassy. If not, then it results in a tie. And then the snap scares me as well. Because once it's locked down with Professor X, we won't be able to do a Doctor Strange. We won't be able to do a lot of things. Let's do the Polaris here. We're gonna hope. We should at least tie this lane. They could win it. Oh no. So they're gonna Professor X the Danger Room location instead. Very, very interesting. So we move our armor over. So now, do they have... Do they have a destroyer? We could do Heimdall. That's going to shift our Kraven and our Angela. That leaves a decent push here. Or we could do Magneto to kind of group these cards here. But if they drop a destroyer, then we lose the far right lane. Jill, yeah, we should have pulled into Danger Room. That would have been the play. But as far as our play to find our win condition now, I like the sound it makes when someone becomes a member of your channel. Me too. I giggle every time I hear it. We can Magneto pull their Polaris over. And then if they were thinking of dropping Destroyer here or here, I think either way we're going to lose this one. But I think it comes down to a gut. And so we're gonna go with Magneto on the far right. I think it's actually a sound clip of Wong. No, it's me. I said it. So I'm the one that said the voice line. And so I said, hey, what took you so long? I just thought it was funny. And so we win Jotunheim. We win the far right lane. We should not have won that one. You guys doubted the movement. I doubted that game too. The Sunspot, the Polaris pull, the almost loss in Jotunheim, the arrow play there was we got lucky. Had they had the destroyer, we would have lost. We will take those wins where we can. Let's go ahead and we'll jump over into another one. We're slowly climbing up there. We're almost back to Mr. Positive or Mr. Neutral Streamer. If we hit that, then that's where we'll go ahead and end for the day. I think it's been a fun stream all the way around. So let's go ahead and skip turn one. We don't want to drop our Iron Fist until we have a target for it. And so we'll skip turn one and we'll kind of look from there. We can do Kraven. We can do Iron Fist into, maybe Iron Fist into a Cloak here, and that will push the card over, or maybe we push Cloak over. 45. You see Multiverse of Madness yet? Yeah, I did. I really liked Multiverse of Madness. I think it got a lot of grief, but I really enjoyed it. And then Roy, nice to see you finally see you live. I'm glad that you were able to catch us live finally. I appreciate you being here. So Sakaar pulled in our Doctor Strange, so we didn't get any upside from moving our Kraven there, unfortunately. We can do a Widow's Bite here. We can do Cloak as a way to move our Kraven around. Actually, let's do Widow's Bite into Isle of Silence. We don't have... I think we keep up with tempo. I don't think we hold these for like the perfect drop. I think we're going to play Cloak. We're going to move our Kraven over. We'll push a card over into Nidavellir. We have Magneto as our final turn play. And so I think that's what we're going to look for. I think we keep tempo here instead of skipping and trying to look for the best usage out of Cloak. That way we at least push some power onto the board. And then, Miko, what control deck do you refer to climb? Do you have some link or deck list? So in the video from yesterday, I'll pull up the link to the video. I don't have I'm not able to do the deck code. It's too long. And so I can do the video link. It's actually the one from yesterday. And so let me grab you the link. It's the pool 2 one that I suggested for Wakanda Embassy. And so let me paste that in there for you. That's the one that I climbed from 45 to 75 with about an 80% win rate. I had a lot of success with it. And then from there it kind of tapered off. But that one in pool 2 did do quite well. Have you thought about playing other games on your channel? Maybe at some point we do some kind of variety content. And then Meme Goblin, thank you so much for joining as a TLSG channel member. If you refresh the stream,
hey, welcome.
There's the notification. If you refresh the stream, you should now have access to the growing list of emotes. And so I appreciate the support. We're going to go ahead and drop Human Torch. We dropped Iron Fist last turn as our last card, so that's going to push our Human Torch over. That will buff our Kraken. Our Kraven's going to move over. We get a decent amount of upside in this interaction, and it looks like they're actually going to cap out Nidavellir here, which will allow us to see what power we need to be able to find a win condition there. The Lockjaw into Wolfsbane triggering was big. The Jubilee flip was unfortunate for him. Not a great pull. The Wasp rotation could be, oh, it's a Nightcrawler. And so they can actually move one more card out. You're so close to the goal. Happy to help. I appreciate it. Once we get up to that next level, we should unlock another emote slot. And so then we can add in another one. And so that's what the goals are there for. With YouTube, it goes through tiers. And so it's cool to always unlock whenever we unlock that next slot. So I think we need a power push somewhere else other than Nidavellir. So I think we do Miles here. Next turn we're going to be able to do Magneto to pull like their Jubilee, their Lockjaw, and their Ironheart out of these locations. And so we may drop Magneto here. And that should be able to, I think we're going to sneak away some power with that. And so, Rando, you said I'd love to watch you play Grounded, but I may be obsessed with that game. I actually haven't seen anything on Grounded. What type of game is it, Rando? And then Lost Souls. Any good replacement for Miles till I get him next month? I would say do a Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is going to be pretty solid for you. The vision is pretty big for them. They have 35 power here. If we do Magneto in this slot, that's going to move 3 and then 1. So it's going to move 4 power here. But it's going to take away 14 power here. So it should bring us within winning range in Nidavellir. Unless it doesn't pull anything over, all of it over, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna sit there and second guess ourselves into oblivion. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lock in the Magneto play. We're gonna pull 2 of their 3 cards unless they play into that location. Or maybe they move their vision and we have space to pull all 3. We don't know for sure. It's a survival crafting game. Think Honey, I Shrunk the Kids survival game. Really? So is it, what kind of graphics is it? Is it similar to like Minecraft? Is it similar to Death by Daylight, I think is the other one? Or Survive, like, I don't remember the name. Oh no, we lose left by 1. That's a tough loss. That one was close. Had they moved their vision over thinking they needed more support in Sakaar, we actually would have pulled over their Jubilee as well. It's like AAA graphics. Huge. I wonder how I missed it. That's a tough one. That one sinks in. We lost left lane by 1. So it was definitely winnable. Had we played it a little bit different, I think we could have found our win condition. But we didn't quite get there. So let's do at least a couple more. I think I'm on the +1 copium now, and so we even have an emote because I try to find a good finisher for the games, and sometimes it takes us a while to get there. So we can do Kraven, we can do Iron Fist, and then we can do Cloak. That's going to allow us to play our Miles Morales next turn. We can move our Kraven over, start buffing him up. And we use most of our resources. Hearthstone for a variety stream. I haven't played Hearthstone since Snap came out. So I was running an aggro warrior deck. And so it was like a 1-turn kill aggro warrior. So it looks like you're just running like a control deck, and then all of a sudden you have the 1-turn kill. It was really fun. But I haven't kept up with the last couple of expansions after Snap came out, so I'm about 5 months behind. So we can move Kraven over. We can move a couple of cards over with him. We actually have Invisible Woman. The Iron Man into Project Pegasus is kind of scary, though. I think we play our Miles and our Human Torch. We might drop a Heimdall if we see it. We might also just avoid the Iron Man lane entirely because we don't have a good counter to it. You went back to Hearthstone. It feels like garbage after Snap. Does it really? What? Oh my gosh, that is That is such a rough third location. Oh my gosh. They didn't know it was coming. That is a big F. That is the worst top deck location we could have ever gotten. That is a retreat if I have ever seen a retreat. Oh my gosh. It's slow and agonizing. Yeah, so and you know you're gonna lose by turn 3. Yeah, so where kind of my breaking point with Hearthstone was I was playing in some of the kind of, I guess they were the tournaments. It was just like the community tournaments where you could unlock extra packs for playing in them. And a game that should have only taken 5 minutes took over 40 minutes because the opponent was roping every turn, and it was like the animations after the rope ended. It was, and then I eventually had to just concede because I ran out of time and I had other things I had to do. It was tough. So like whenever I see people complain about roping in Snap and it takes 4 minutes max, I always think of that 45-minute game that just I was stuck in. Yeah, Death's Domain plus having the movement capabilities, it should be an easy one. What do you think about the bounce archetype? I think it can be pretty strong, Momo. I think it doesn't get as much love as it should, but I think it's a pretty decent one. You can bounce a lot of your low-cost cards. The only thing that really restricts it is the big house, the Crimson Cosmos, where you have to play big cards over there, because then that really restricts your space of play. But otherwise, I think it's incredible. I think it's a pretty competitive one. I don't think it's ever tier 1, but I think it can hold its own given the right draws and the right matchups. That last match was super quick, and you knew you were going to lose on turn 3. Yep. And so you're in and out, and in and out without too much issue. And so then you can really easily move on from those losses. And so the one that we lost by 1, if I had spent an hour in that match to lose by 1, that hurts a lot more than spending 3 minutes, which I think is a lot of the overall appeal of Snap. So I think we just drop Vulture here. Or do we go ahead and drop our Iron Fist into Human Torch? Let's do Vulture. We'll do Vulture next turn. We'll do maybe an Iron Fist and a Human Torch, as well as a Cloak to move cards over into Oscorp Tower. So let's do Iron Fist. We'll do Human Torch. We'll drop Cloak into Oscorp Tower. We'll be able to shift some of our cards around. We should have. I don't know that they're going to be able to compete with us. They may be running a Mr. Negative deck. They haven't played anything for the first 3 turns. Either that or they're really running a really high-end, high-roll deck. Is it normal to be facing pool 3 players at collection level 400? It happened to you a few times now. Yeah, so with the collection like kind of groupings, most of the time you will match against your own. But if you have either a really high MMR, so if you had a decent win rate and then the season reset, you're going to be matching closer to your MMR or your matchmaking rating versus your pool. And so it gets more frequent as you get closer and higher rank. You'll be finding those more often. And so kind of teetering on the edge of each pool is a little bit less advantageous now that we've had a rank reset, and MMR kind of places you takes priority over like the groupings as much now. So they did run a Mr. Negative. They'll have a pretty good push in most lanes. I think maybe we do our Craven, our Vulture. That will buff Vulture to 8. We can then pull Vulture back over with Doctor Strange. And for good measure, we can just drop Miles Morales. That'll leave us 1 space to play here or here on that final turn. And then Swampy, hello, why don't you stream on Twitch? Well, my connection can't hold streaming to both at the same time. And I found that, I don't know, I've been testing streaming both places, like a little bit on Twitch, a little bit on YouTube. I don't know which one is the best for like accessibility or our growth. It's something that I'm kind of testing out and seeing what's going to work best. Ooh, so they're running the negative Black Panther deck. Ooh, we're going to pull Wong out of Oscorp Tower here. And so whatever they're wanting to trigger twice here, so whether it be a actually Dr. Doom would push power here, but White Tiger wouldn't do it. I don't know that they have a, they could do a Black Panther and then an Arnim Zola. Okay, with Mr. Negative, if they got a high roll on their draws, maybe they still find the win condition. But we're gonna pull Wong out of this lane, and then maybe, I don't know, if it's a Black Panther and then Arnim Zola, I think we just lose. But any other combination, I think we have a good shot against. You're taking you're taking about 8 kilograms of copium a day playing this. Yep. Every once in a while, we get into a really big copium. Ooh, so the Mystique to copy Wong into what, a White Tiger? Into an inverted White Tiger. So it's still going to trigger twice. That's not going to be enough to win any of the lanes. It'll be enough to win Death's Domain. Had it triggered 4 times, they maybe could have found the condition here. Actually, it would have only been 28. But the inverted White Tiger was a potentially sneaky power push. Luckily, we were able to displace one of their trigger components. So we're so close. We're so close to Mr. Neutral Streamer. I would love to get back to neutral before we end the stream. And then Daniel, you said, I prefer when you stream to YouTube. I prefer premium, or you have premium, so no ads. And the ad structure on Twitch, it feels kind of intrusive. Like the pre-rolls are so much longer than on YouTube. It's not as bad to skip one on YouTube, I don't think. But it is something we're playing around with. We're seeing what works best for the channel and just for, our community. And so I don't know where we ultimately land. I would like it to be all inclusive on YouTube. But if it negatively impacts, the other metrics, we might have to, switch around from there, but we don't know. We don't know for sure. You usually play until I get a loss. Helps me not get too tilted. FM Cheese, yeah. But whenever you're like, I've found that sometimes I'm like, okay, I want to really level up and rank up today. I have 2 hours, and then if that 2-hour session goes really, really badly, then it can be tilting. Oh my gosh, we are the worst at dropping into the 3rd location. So we're gonna have to burn our Doctor Strange here to move our Angela. The good thing with this interaction is that whenever Angela moves over, it will count Doctor Strange as being played. So it'll unless they change it in the last patch, it'll give her 3 power instead of just 1. But we have to sacrifice Doctor Strange to not give them the Angela and Oscorp Tower. Do you lose money off YouTube when you use ad blocker? Maximus, I think so. So YouTube pays versus the ad impressions. And so if you don't have premium or if you're using ad blocker, premium, I get like a small fraction depending on like your watch time. It divvies up that premium cost. I don't know exactly how that part works. But an ad blocker means less ad impressions, which means they pay less. But if it is something that you're running ad blocker, I completely understand. I used to run it. I don't anymore. That way, whenever I do view something, it can help the streamers. But I understand. Sometimes ads can be so intrusive. That was when I was visiting Twitch a lot, and those are really long ads, and they get old quick. YouTube does a pretty good job of being able to skip most of them within the first 10 seconds. So they snapped off of the Thor play. So we can always displace their negative ninja. We can play Miles here for cheap. Maybe we play Miles and Vulture. We have Heimdall as a way to kind of push some bigger power, maybe into the Shadowland. Or if we draw Magneto, maybe we play that instead. Premium pays better than ad impressions. Bargle, yeah. It does. It's just such a smaller fraction of views. But yeah, I think for most creators it does. So they have Wong, which is going to trigger things 4 times. Oh my gosh. If ever there was a time to find Magneto here, it would be now. So we want to have priority going into this last turn, if at all possible. So let's do Polaris here. cloak here, we're going to try and keep initiative. If we top deck a Magneto, that's going to be ideal. This could be a Mjolnir already, though. They may have tempo dropped their Mjolnir. We are going to pull the negative ninja. That will restrict them from doing too much. So now they can't do Mjolnir and Odin, but they could still do Mjolnir, which would trigger 4 times. That is not what we need. And so Mjolnir would trigger 4 times. There's not going to be a win condition. Had we been able to yank Wong out and Mjolnir only triggered once, we might be able to find a way. But let's go ahead and jump out of this one. We'll jump into the next game. We'll start fresh. Maximus, I'll let ads run when watching your videos from now on. I want to show the support. Maximus, that's huge. I appreciate it. I appreciate even just being a viewer, liking the videos, the streams, just enjoying the content is more than enough support. But if you want to turn off ad blocker when you're watching my stuff, that is also appreciated. And then Koshik, I don't use ad blocker, but I use YouTube Premium. It's very cheap for Indian users, less than $2 a month, which is a good deal. Because then no matter what stream or video, you don't have to worry about mid rolls. I used to not like the YouTube Premium service, but they have improved it quite a bit over time. And so I think it's a pretty decent thing to have, especially if you can get it for like $2. That's a huge win. And then Scalp, I support the channel by watching all the ads all the way through. Scalp City, that is, I have seen some 40-minute ads on there, Scalp City. If you're watching those and not skipping them, bless you. I don't know if those pay any more than anything else, but I saw like a 2-hour ad. I think they're going for the community that fell asleep with the videos. I don't know. But for a 2-hour ad, it's like a whole video within a video. Then Rando, you don't randomly need an editor, do you? I'm not the most skilled, but I'm free and unemployed. So the thing so most of the stuff that I do, Rando, is pretty lowly intensive for edits. And so like what I found is that it takes longer to like package, upload the files, have somebody download them, edit them, re-upload them, and then I download them again. That it ended up being more time overall. And so I do appreciate the offer. If there's ever anything maybe a little bit more edit intensive, maybe at that point we can look at it. But for just like the gameplay videos, since the editing is light on those, it's more hassle for I think all the way around. So let's drop our Vulture. With Bifrost, it's going to move over into Camartage. If we can get an Iron Fist, we can drop that in Camartage. It'll actually push that card over twice. And so if we get a Human Torch, we can actually send it from this side of the board all the way over here, which is always really cool. And then Jill, YouTube Premium users will give more revenue by watching videos than free users watching ads. Jill, yeah, that's true. And then Jake, this is long lunch. Glad I finally watch at home on good internet. I'm glad you're able to join us today and be here for a while, Jake. I started work early this morning, and I'll work a little bit later this evening. I want to get up to positive, and I've just been enjoying the stream. And then somebody asked if there are ads in the middle of the streams. I haven't triggered any ads like mid-roll, so those are called mid-roll ads, and I haven't triggered any of them. But you can add them. I just don't in the middle of the streams. And then thank you Theodore and Sean Knight for subbing to the channel. I think we go ahead and play our Polaris. All of these are going to move over after this turn. We can always do something like a Doctor Strange to try and find our win condition. Oh, so they deathlock their own goose? Interesting. Have I caught Andor yet? I haven't. It is something that I want to watch. It's on my list. And then the Heat Flow. Thank you for jumping in and joining us. It's on my list, but I haven't quite made it to it yet. Ooh, Dagger last turn would have been massive. But that's all right. So we can do Miles Morales. We can then do Cloak. We can do Cloak and Dagger. That will allow us to drop a Heimdall here, we can choose what we want to move into this middle location. And then we can drop Heimdall to shift enough power into Crimson Cosmos, and we try to fight for the Bifrost as well. That's the tentative. Denzel, gotta go. Good luck getting to positive. We'll see how long it takes, Denzel. We're chipping away at it, and then we're losing it. And then we're chipping away at it, and then we're losing it. And then Rich, thanks for no ads. Yeah, it always feels, especially for a lunch live stream, whenever I only do an hour, it feels really intrusive to be like, okay, I'm gonna take a couple minutes here, and we're gonna run some ads. And so I would rather just let it roll where we can. So they dropped Shang-Chi. They destroyed a couple of her cards, but we do have Magneto or Heimdall that we can choose on this last turn. So they destroyed enough cards. Do we think they can do a cheap death maybe? We can also do Magneto as a way to pull some of their cards. Okay, no, they don't have a win condition. So we are going back up to -5. Let's see if we can get another big game. We're staying pretty close to where we started.
Hey, welcome. It took you long enough.
And then the Heat Flow. Thank you so much for joining us as a channel member. The support is absolutely massive. Thank you for supporting the content in the channel. If you refresh the stream, you'll have access to our growing list of emotes. The Cloak and Dagger, the duo, it's the dream team, the Cloak and Dagger dream team. Andor is great. I mean, not like Mandalorian, but way better than Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I watched the Book of Boba Fett. I haven't watched Obi-Wan just yet. And then, Mile, you said any replacements for Polaris? I would say add in Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is going to be decent as a kind of early tempo card. You're not going to have as much disruption for the opponent, but you'll still be able to get a decent amount of upside from it. So we have Project Pegasus here. We can do Kraven, Dagger, or maybe we do Dagger and then wait, he won't pull anything because he's the highest cost card, right? And so we can do Kraven and Dagger in mid. We can drop Cloak into the far right side. We can then shift cards over depending on how many cards they have here. Ooh, and they drop a Cloak as well. Interesting. So it's a move versus move. Is Dagger just better than Punisher? So Dagger has a much higher high roll potential. So if you move her once and they have 4 cards, that's +8 power to her. If you move her twice, I've gotten like 20 plus power Daggers before, which is always massive to see. We don't have any cards we can actually play this turn, but we can shift a couple of our cards around. We're going to shift our Kraven and our Dagger. If they do their Vulture, that's fine. We just have to watch out for a potential Heimdall in the last turn. Ooh, so they do a Vulture into a Doctor Strange. And so their Vulture is going to be very, very large. We know that they've blown both of their free movement abilities, so I don't think they're going to be able to move their Vulture any further. We don't want to drop Magneto. Magneto has the potential to pull their Vulture, so Magneto's not going to be the play for this game anyways. Oh no, the Bifrost is the last location, and so their Vulture is actually going to move again. Oh, that's tough. We can do Doctor Strange, which moves the Kraven, not the Dagger, unfortunately. I think this one's going to be a loss. They're going to have a huge Vulture. We can do Doctor Strange. That moves Kraven, and then whenever cards get shifted over, we have a pretty good push here, but they're going to have the flexibility of Vulture. So multiple man is also interesting.
Welcome. It took you long
and then
enough.
Koshik, thank you so much for joining as a channel member as well. If you refresh the stream, you now have access to our growing list of emotes. And I'm glad to have you on the team, and I'm glad to have you as a channel member. When you Green Goblin the Superflow, dirty deeds are done dirt cheap. I love that. I love doing that move. Pushing cards into that lane where they are anticipating or kind of relying on that power is always so much fun. We can do Angela, Spider-Man, and a Human Torch. I don't think we outpower their Vulture, though, is the issue. They have multiple man, but that's at 3 power. He's not a huge presence. Ooh, and then a Blue Marvel? Really? A Blue Marvel in a move deck? That's a spicy choice. So we're gonna pull into our last card. It's Polaris. Heimdall shifts our cards over. That their 19 power vulture, we can't compete with it. We were holding in there because they had not snapped, so there was no risk in us staying in there to try to find a win condition. But since they snapped, risking 1 versus risking 4, going up against that big of a card and having the flexibility that they know that I know that they can move it around, at that point it's not worth it for us. Oh, and Q, you said Koshig, it's Justin Fury. Yeah, it's from the eye patch era. And then Q, you said please upgrade the dagger. I forgot. I have so many boosters on her. It's just a card that I've never actually upgraded. Actually, I don't have as many as I thought. I only have 42. But we can upgrade her a little bit. We can't get her all the way to legendary. But at least you don't have to sit and look at the gray border. And then Harry, yeah, we are incredibly close to the next emote. And so I'm not sure what we're gonna add just yet. I know that Jeremiah has been making a few cool ones, but I'm not sure exactly what we end up adding in. But I do think we'll find a cool one to add in. And then Etchy, hey TLSG, really enjoying the content. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the videos, Etchylum. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're enjoying the content and that you're here. Did you get any title? No, I haven't actually unlocked any of the reserves yet. I don't. There's no use in holding them, but we have 35 built up that I just haven't opened yet. I know, Koshik. It's been 2 hours. We're still waiting for Mr. Positive Streamer. I mean, but we're in range of one good game. One good game is all we need. It's all we need. Best strategy for upgrading faster through pool 3. So using your gold to refresh your daily missions and your credits is a big boom. And then if you buy the premium pass, not the boosted version, just the regular pass, you get a lot of upside there as well. So do we drop our Human Torch into Strange Academy, or do we try to hold it out? I think maybe we just drop him in Strange Academy. We drop Dagger there as well. Open up the reserves. Open up the reserves on the stream. Is that how we close out the stream today? We can do Craven. We can do Dagger. If they change the Strange Academy location, then it'll hurt us a bit. But cloning Vats is interesting. We can clone the Iron Fist. We can push our Dagger here. She doesn't get any bonus though. I wish we had our Human Torch still in hand. He would have become really strong here. Let's still go with Dagger. It's going to push it over into Strange Academy. We can do a cheap Miles Morales next turn, and then we'll kind of continue looking from there. Cloning Vats, if they're running a Venom deck or if they have Carnage here, that's going to start becoming really hard to overcome pretty quickly. And then Jill, good night. Hope you finish with Mr. Positive. I hope you have a great night. I hope you sleep well, and I hope we catch you in another stream sometime soon. So we can do the cheap Miles Morales. We're not looking strong. We can move Craven, but I don't know that that's necessarily the play we go with. Or maybe we do Iron Fist into Miles here. That'll push him over. That'll buff up Craven one more time. Maybe we get lucky and withdraw a cloak. I don't know. Our draw here doesn't look fantastic. You vote yes for opening the reserves? Okay, we'll open the reserves before we close out the stream. So I'll do just a couple more. I do have a meeting that's coming up that I'll have to jump over into soon. And so we'll do a couple more games, see if we can get to Mr. Positive. If not, that's okay. We've had going positive this game for sure. I don't know, it's feeling rough. So they now have the copy of their Carnage, so they can have an 8-power presence on the board really easily. And then B Prime, thank you for subbing, and Monkey Man as well. Thank you for subbing to the YouTube channel. Title hunting from reserves. If we could get a cool title, that'd be fantastic. I don't really like any of our plays here. I think we're just gonna skip. I think we're gonna skip here. They have 2 demons that they're holding on to. Yeah, so the Carnage here is massive. Don't forget to tell everyone in your meeting to subscribe to the channel and ask what a good emote should be. I mean, you gotta ask the hard-hitting questions here. So the dagger here is actually going to get really, really massive because they have 4 cards in this lane, and so it gets a +8 power bonus, and then Craven gets a pretty decent boost. We can now drop maybe a Heimdall. If we drop Heimdall here, that will move these cards over. We'll move our Human Torch, double him again. Craven buffs up as well. It's not great. But is it a shot? They have they use their Carnage. They have, what, a demon still?